Hello. We're live. What's going on, everybody? Lots to talk about. I was just in an X space with our guy Suleiman. Shout out to him. Was going over a lot of news and the developments in regards to specifically the Strait of Hormuz, which has been a point of contention, of course, for the United States and Iran as this conflict has grown, or really since it started. But I was distracted watching my brother debate Dinesh D'Souza, in which he absolutely pan-seared him, fried him, and then spat him back out. All love to Dinesh D'Souza, but because he's gracious and he's a gentleman, so I don't want to attack the guy or, be egregious. But my brother certainly debunked every single one of his talking points. And, I mean, look, it's not hard. The position of supporting the United States against Iran and thinking that this serves any U.S. interests is an indefensible position. And so when you get somebody like my brother who has vast knowledge not only on the topic currently, what's been developing, but on the history of Iran and the United States, it usually makes for a bad combination. You're not going to look too smart on the air. So Dinesh is a very nice guy. I disagree with almost everything he says, but very respectful, very gracious, and it was an entertaining debate nonetheless. It was pretty quick. It wasn't too long. However, maybe I just had the viewer's dilemma of not being able to tell whether it was long or not. But shout out to Sean Kelly. Shout out to Dinesh and, of course, my brother. He did a great job. It was really fun. If you didn't get to watch it, take a look at it after the stream. We're going to be joining my brother in a moment here. But, for the first few minutes of the YouTube stream, you've got to keep things somewhat clean, if that makes sense. So I'll just brief you guys very quickly before we get into everything in the show. We'll probably react to some of the debate. There's some things that Dinesh brought up that I thought were really comical. And, of course, my brother did an amazing job in absolutely shooting down every single one of those points. But we'll talk about it with him. We'll do a little bit of a debate debrief, if you will, and I think that'll be fun for a lot of you guys. I'm sure a lot of you are just coming from there as well, watching that debate. Very entertaining, very fun to watch. So in regards to the Strait of Hormuz, where are we? Obviously, the United States and Iran have been battling for the Strait of Hormuz, and now we've imposed this quote-unquote blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. However, that was a little bit misleading or misdirectional. Of course, that may be by intention for strategy of Donald Trump, but the real issue is we're not actually blocking the strait. We're blocking Iranian ports or any ships that are on their way out of the Iranian ports or any ships that are on their way in to the Iranian port. So effectively, we are trying to choke the economy of Iran. That's the whole point. We're not actually getting involved with the oil vessels that have been trying to cross the strait. Of course, they have been hesitant because Iran has been threatening to deploy drones and potentially even missile strikes to destroy these oil vessels. And of course, any insurance company will not insure a ship that is in danger of being attacked by any country right on its coastline, that being Iran, of course, in the Strait of Hormuz, or really the Persian Gulf as a whole. So the United States has gotten involved and said, if we can't stop Iran from stopping these ships, we'll stop anything from reaching Iran, which will choke their local economy. People will start to feel it. There will be a shortage of goods, oil, so on and so forth. The issue is Iran has several ways of working around this, many of which I'll go into detail with when we talk to my brother, because that'll be a topic that we'll dive into. But if you've been paying attention to the news, there's been different talking points really from different news outlets, of course, to fulfill their own agendas. What you need to know from what I like to think is an unbiased source, me being myself, it is strategically intelligent for the United States to try and choke Iran because they've been able to leverage that strait against us viciously over the last 40, pushing now 50 days. Can you believe it? And so I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. What I am saying, though, is it's not actually addressing the underlying issue, which is freeing up the Strait of Hormuz and actually disinvolving Iranian economic benefit. What do I mean by that? Iran has been tolling ships that have been crossing through the strait, who knows how much money, and making tons of capital as a result. And so now we've geared or really motivated Iran to get involved in blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Their only real weapon against us, because of course they're not going to be able to defeat us militarily, so they have to beat us economically or strategically, the Strait of Hormuz being the first and best option. And now they're able to actually make money off of the ships that they're allowing through. And of course, these countries are going to pay Iran that money because they need that oil a lot more desperately than we do. Of course, Asia are the first receivers of the oil, and then the export also makes its way around up into the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, up the Suez Canal, and now you're in Europe. So Europe desperately needs that oil as well. Iran has been able to damage the United States economically a great deal since this has started, and a lot of people have been making the argument, well, we cut off Venezuela, and now we've cut off several oil exporters to China and Russia, that being Iran and the Gulf countries. Now they can't give their oil to China. Everybody's coming to us for oil. Yeah, you do realize that's a short-lived benefit, right? Because this conflict won't last forever. And actually, the world doesn't want to buy oil from us. And actually, it's a lot more difficult to travel all the way to the United States. If you don't know, these oil vessels, these large ships that carry millions or thousands of pounds of oil, travel super slow, like 20 miles an hour. So geostrategically, it's a lot more efficient and effective for these countries to receive their oil from the Middle East. The Middle East is the Middle East, right? It's not far from Europe. It's not far from Asia, but the United States is far from all of it. So for us to be the global oil hegemon will not work, really, in tandem over a long period of time. And not only that, but we've obviously cut off every single road or outlet to oil export for other countries for our own economic gain. And Trump has been calling NATO paper tigers on Truth Social. Really bad combination if you want to keep the United States in a position where we can work with these countries, gain leverage over their economies, flex our military power in exchange for something they can give us like we've done in the Gulf countries. But guess what? Now we don't have that in the Gulf countries because all 13 of our military bases in the Gulf countries have been destroyed by Iranian missiles. So it really leaves you to ask, what have we gained from this war? And still the answer is nothing, you know? And I tweeted something very, of course, profound because I'm the best tweeter. No, I'm kidding. But I said, always remember, if Iran has ballistic missiles, a nuclear program, and an existing or revivable proxy network, the United States has won nothing, and Israel, of course. Iran messed us up so hard that that passageway they leveraged against us being opened back up is somehow a victory for the United States. We are working backwards. Don't give me the whole, but we're selling oil. That is short-lived, and you certainly won't feel it at the pump or when buying groceries. The petrodollar is at risk. This will worsen it long-term. The world will, in fact, remember this and use it against us. Use your head, more like make America worse again. And so I can appreciate the fact that Donald Trump has tried to relieve some of this pressure, and he's saying we don't care about the Strait of Hormuz, and NATO needs it more than us, and Europe needs it, Asia needs it. We've got our own oil. We get oil from Canada. We got our own oil. Drill, baby, drill, of course. But the issue is we're trying, or we're actively attempting to reopen the strait. So obviously it matters. And we just deployed another 10,000 troops into the region earlier this week. So obviously it matters. And we're desperately trying to reach a peace deal with Iran, and they haven't really been talking back to us. So obviously it matters. Donald Trump has been telling the media, well, Iran desperately wants a deal. Well, Iran said they can come to a deal. They made a concession on their nuclear weapons program. And then today I've seen several reports where the IRGC, again, as we've seen before, have come out and said, we have not spoken with Donald Trump. We haven't spoken with anybody in the United States except the delegation that was sent to Islamabad, Pakistan a couple weeks ago, that being J.D. Vance, Stephen Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, the typical Middle Eastern envoy, the one nuance or the one change being that of J.D. Vance, which effectuated no difference, by the way. They were not able to come to an agreement. And I'm just trying to give you the larger picture here if you haven't been paying attention, because it's been a while since I've gone live. So I want to make sure I paint that clearer picture for you guys who have not been paying attention to the news. But really all you need to know as a general whole, no real big changes or developments yet. The ceasefire has still been in order until April 22nd. I believe that is the last day of the ceasefire. And we will either see from there, hopefully, a deal being made or a second stage of this war. Now, whether that's a second air campaign like we did from February 28th onwards, or a ground assault, who knows? That's all up for speculation. I've seen several different experts in the space say different or varying things. This can kind of go any way. The only thing that does concern me, though, is there's really not much of an off-ramp for the United States to exercise anymore, except continuing military action or completely pulling out. Look, they've got us by the neck with the Strait of Hormuz. Now they're making money off of it, and they won't let go of that because that has been the very thing that has kept them alive and been able to pull the United States onto the talking table. I mean, imagine if they didn't have the Strait. We would have just continued to desecrate their land and eventually seize their uranium via ground operation or something else. It would have happened. But the Strait actually slows us down because it kicks us in the ass while we're trying to punch them. And so maybe we have to get up, breathe for air, come out of the water, and then recoup and figure out our next plan, which is what the whole point of the ceasefire initially was. If you've been paying attention, we obviously brokered the ceasefire after a failed operation where an F-15 jet was shot down out of the sky by an Iranian missile, or maybe even a Russian missile. That's what I'm reading from a launch pad, by the way, an SAM, a surface-to-air missile. And in being shot down, we tried desperately to receive the Wizzo, or the operator of that jet, who was stranded on a mountain, and we later found out he was a colonel. And so John Ratcliffe came to Washington to brief the press about the operation, the head of the CIA, which was really weird. There was some covert details about a heartbeat monitor and all this stuff. The fact of the matter is, there were people who were inside of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that recommended to Trump not to pursue this rescue mission because they knew how risky it really was. But of course, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and John Ratcliffe, the CIA, worked together to retrieve this pilot. That tells me he had very sensitive intel that we did not want to give up. Of course, as well as the fact that it's a political loss for the United States. It's a really bad look optically if we lose a pilot against a country that we've been supposedly air dominating for 40 days straight. So, I mean, many facts going together, but my brother does a great job of explaining why the wrong military aircraft were involved. There were several missing pieces of the puzzle that point to the fact that it was a failed CIA operation to open the door for a potential ground invasion in order to seize uranium and get out of there. Didn't work. So we brokered the ceasefire right after that. Really, Pakistan got in the middle, but we were happy to jump on it. And of course, it went nowhere because J.D. Vance made a maximalist demand in regards to, of course, their nuclear program. And the three sticking points here seem to be the Strait of Hormuz, the nuclear program, and then the fact that Iran wants some sort of either sanctions relief or a reparations program. However, they're kind of achieving that with making money on the Strait of Hormuz anyways. So I know I'm going crazy at 100 miles an hour right now, but I want to make sure I can give you the top to bottom news report as to what's been happening the last week and a half. Hopefully that's informational, but we'll join my brother right now. I know I haven't been live all week. Sorry. Okay. I got work. Okay. My bed broke. Can you believe it? I laid down on my bed, plopped to the ground. So my sleep has been messed up because my bed is broken. I'm like sleeping like a mummy, bro. My head is like, the top half of my bed is slanted down. So like I'm waking up with a headache. Because I think all the blood's like going to my head. Wouldn't that prevent a headache? Anyways, I don't know. AC in my apartment's broken. I told leasing earlier today, hey, my AC's broken. They said, no problem. We'll get right on it. Maintenance guy is yet to show up. I'm going to make another call after the stream. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. It's hot as hell in here. So my life has just been really hard. But I'll be live tonight. I'll be live tomorrow, and I will be live Sunday. Saturday I cannot, but Sunday I'll be live. And then maybe even Monday night I'll be live too. I'm going to try to run it back up. I've been pumping out videos. Me and my editor, Hanimi, shout out to him. He's been pumping out 2 videos a day, at the minimum 1. So if you miss the streams, of course, you can get the debrief with those videos. They're like 20 minutes. They range anywhere from 15 minutes to like 40, sometimes even an hour. So they're really good. Something you can put on while you're doing dishes or doing laundry. If you're gay, just kidding. I do those things. I'm single. Don't want to do those things, but I do those things. Yeah. I also shaved the beard. What do you guys think? Not bad. I was tempted to shave it because, no, I live in a luxury apartment. A luxury apartment. Heavy quotations on that. I just live in an apartment complex in a city. You know how that goes. Because I saw someone ask in the chat. Somebody at the gym was like, I thought you were 28. I was like, yeah, maybe the facial hair needs to go. So that's why I shaved it. So I got the goatee. I know everybody may not like it, whatever, okay? The Huz like it, and I look younger. All right, nigga? All right, let's call my brother. But that's what's been happening. And is there anything else that I'm forgetting that I wanted to mention? Yeah, I mean, 10,000 more troops in the region. To me, things are just pointing towards a second stage of the war. Okay? And by the way, every single country in Europe is diplomatically working to try to create some relationship with Iran so they can just get their oil. No country has voiced explicit support for the United States in this operation yet. No major country that's worth mentioning, I should add. So that's where we are. Not much of an update, not too crazy of news, of course, but things are falling kind of where I said they would fall. But we'll save it. We'll save it. We'll save the sauce. We'll save the sauce. Someone said it makes you look 2 months younger. Well, that's not good. It needs to make me look 5 years younger. Yeah, I will never go clean shaven. I just don't have the face for it. John says, hey, bro, assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Did you look at the book I sent you? Thoughts on it? Was it helpful in noticing? Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, it was amazing. And I'm going to try to work to get that promoted in a way that does not nuke me. So, inshallah, stay tuned for that. I have you on Instagram. So, we'll talk, inshallah. Just be patient with me because I do want that to gain some sort of attraction. But you see the position I'm in, man. I'm still on YouTube. Alhamdulillah, somehow. And then also work and everything. Got to really navigate that strategically, if you know what I mean. I have people posting clips on me or of me, and I'm having to tell them like, hey, maybe take this down. Bro, you know, God bless you guys. I had like 2 or 3 people. I had to DM them and be like, this clip is really good, but you might have to take it down. And they're going, well, no problem, I'll take it down. But why? You said that on stream. I said, yeah, you know, when I say something on stream, it's fine. But if it gets clipped up and it goes viral, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Not in regards to politics, but when I'm talking about girls or I'm talking about race, those are like the sensitive areas, believe it or not. People think, oh, you know, you're talking about foreign policy and the Middle East and, of course, Israel and all. And it's like, yeah, but those are just legitimate political stances, you know, that aren't actually that demonized, especially after October 7th. It's been a lot more of a free landscape to express those ideas or your ideological positions in regards to that conflict. But, you know, when you do the whole red pill women, when you do the whole race theory, that's where the lines no longer become blurred. They're actually quite solid, and they're red. They're deep red, and you cannot approach them. So, and of course, those are the clips that are going to get views, right? Those are the clips that are actually going to do well. Voice crack. So it is what it is. I had to tell him, like, yo, bro, hey, bro, we got to get this one out of here. This clip, no good. And they were so good, too. If you've been watching me for like a month, you know what stream it was from, too. Anyways, all right, let me call him. How many times did I say I'm going to call him? I didn't call him. Let's get Discord up. And I got some chats here. I'll read them. Don't worry. What's up, guys? How have you guys been? Hopefully good. I've been MIA. I've been absent. I need to start mewing, bro. My jawline's not good enough. Someone tell Clav, hit me up. Clav, I need help. Someone said sleep upside down. That's just weird. I can't do that. I know what you mean. Mr. Ferdinand says, W Collab time. Yeah, facts. Thanks for the super chat. Pollos says, just sleep upside down. Oh, that's what I was reading. Sorry. Thanks for the super chat, Polio. No, what do you mean? So where my head's like right here? Nah. That's just weird. I already sleep on the left side. The left side broke. Now I got to sleep on the right, and that already feels weird to me. We're creatures of habit, aren't we? So let's call the Punisher. Yo, I'm in the video queue now.
You're in the queue right now? Okay, you on Discord?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me send you. Okay, let me join right now. What the fuck? Okay. All right, bear with me real quick. Let me get you on here.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, take your time. Peace.
No, I'm good. Just turn my camera.
All right. Someone said you're going to get clipped up regardless. No, facts. No, look, while I can control it, I will. The goal is to not get fired so fast, okay? That's the goal. I'm a good corporate boy. I got to stay that way. Yo.
You already slipped up? What's going on?
No. Did you hear some of that? No, I was saying, and I could say this, it's fine. I was saying that, here, let me get you on screen here. Okay. W. Myron. Yeah, I was saying on stream, I saw a couple of clips come up on my TikTok timeline of me talking about some not so friendly topics. So I had to tell those people like, hey, if you could, please take this down. Just stated the political stuff. And they were very understanding, but, you know, some of my chat has expressed like, yo, bro, it's inevitable. And I was like, yeah, no, I get it, but I mitigate it while I can, of course. So
yeah, we got to mitigate it.
Yeah, you talk about foreign policy, Middle East, even Israel for that matter, you're good, right? Like, it's not as dangerous as people think it is, really. It's become a lot less taboo ever since October 7th. And then obviously the whole idea of censorship has now been like flooding AI bots and stuff, not just shutting people up. But like once you go into like the, you know, red pill, women, race, like that's where their lines are red. You got to really be careful. So yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Yeah, W. Myron. Yeah. Yo, good job in that debate. Yo, you absolutely pan-seared him and then put him on a plate. That was That was
Yeah,
brutal.
I don't think I don't think he knew. I could tell, like,
Yeah,
because
he
I
had
like
no
see
clue.
talk about stuff. I don't think he knew that I like. I'm pretty well researched on this topic.
He had no idea. And I know he had no idea because the points that he was making are quite literally the points that you debunk almost every other stream. So
Yeah.
it's obvious he's not really familiar with your work. And of course, I'm not saying he has to watch you every night or whatever, and Dinesh is a really gracious guy. He's a gentleman, so not attacking him, but it's obvious he didn't really understand the extent of which to your knowledge kind of extended, as well as the history, right? You know, the Iran-Iraq thing. He made a couple blunders there that you quickly shut down. So that was very fun to watch. Quicker debate, but it was really good. It was some crazy things he said, though. Like really outlandish things. I was watching like, oh my God. Like, I just saw you writing on your notepad and I was like, yeah, I already know he's writing the debunk to that. But,
That's what I was doing. Like, as he was talking, like, I would write every one of his claims, and I'd be like, I'd write the claim, and I'd put like a question mark, and I'd be like, okay, I know what to say to this, blah, blah. So I was kind of like quickly going through there. And that, that's the benefit. This is why, like, guys, like, when I tell you guys that, like, a lot of these people that you guys watch or whatever are retarded and they don't know what they're talking about, like, you could really tell if someone knows what they're talking about when they do, like, debates, because you don't just, it's not like just going through the motions or whatever. It's like you actually understand it to the point where you can actually rebut some of the things that they said.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and
so that's why
he said there was a couple things that were really just outlandish to me. I was thinking about reacting to it, but I was too locked in. But he said, Israel's a country of 10 million. The United States is a country of 300 million. So to think that Israel controls the United States, it's like whoever said it was about numbers, it's about influence, obviously. Right? If it was all a numbers game, China and Russia would maul us to death. It's not about how many bodies you have on the ground. So I just thought
and that's
that
why
was funny.
like the rich Zionists that live here, that campaign, I was like, bro, Myron Matelson gave this like $100 million. Like,
these are the people that fund our politicians. They run the think tanks that teach people how to think. They run the think tanks that actually influence our politicians to make decisions. So, and the Scott Horton collab was brilliant as well. I really enjoyed that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. He gave a lot of history, but I was like, you know what, dude, like, let's go. Like, because I think it's important so if people can understand like the background and everything else like that. So it was good. And great, I'm going to have him on again. I admire his work. He does like a lot of good work. I got to bring him on for Russia, Ukraine, because he wrote a whole book on this called Provoked. So obviously we didn't have time to talk about it today, but I'm glad because I asked him the question on the Death to America thing, and then I was able to use that in the Dinesh Souza debate, which is interesting. But I didn't know that. That was like, I did not know that that's like simply because obviously we don't speak Farsi, right? But like, I did not know that that's kind of like just an idiom that they use to say F something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the line of I didn't know that either. That was new to me as well. So it's important details like that, especially the ship being named after New Jersey. Like that's the detail I never paid attention to that was weaponized against Iran, or really the militant group in Lebanon. So a lot of good points he brought up, and that's what he does. He elucidates the larger picture, so you don't get caught by the mainstream media and the narrative, because the narrative seems on its face very logical, right? And this is, not saying, oh, I'm vindicated, but I said this like 2 or 3 times now on the show and by myself, that the basis or the foundation in which right-wing political commentators use to justify this war is Islamic terrorism, Islamic extremism. Yeah. And so, of course, Dinesh, right out of the gate with his opening statement, spoke about Islamic extremism. And once you unravel that or you peel that layer back, there's nothing in front of you except the Zionist. And so, of course, you did a great job of deconstructing that. But that just proves my theory. They have to depend so heavily on weaponizing Islam and saying that it's the only underlying factor as to why there's destabilization and issues in the Middle East, when really there's an agitator that birthed an extreme version of Islam or made it worse than it already was. So you did a great job in deconstructing him. It was really good. So hopefully that gets clipped up, does some good numbers so people can get educated, because there's no way you watch that and on the other end don't learn some new things, because everything he's saying is like, people know that. He's running with the same talking points that have been used for years, kind of the mainstream talking points, but the things you were mentioning was kind of the inside lore, the things that maybe I knew, but I knew a lot of people watching had no idea about.
And the other thing, too, that I really made sure to harp on was radical Judaism. No one ever talks about that, bro. Radical Judaism. And I was like, nah, man, I got to talk about this, too, because people are so quick to talk about radical Islam. Fine, no problem, right? We get it. But no one ever talks about radical Judaism and how these radicals have actual real influence in the United States. Radical Muslims don't have power, bro. But radical Jews do. So It's just crazy to me how no one ever calls that shit out and we know why. And look, I'll give Dinesh, credit because he's a Trump loyalist. So like he's already arguing from a losing position. You know what I mean? So it's an unwinnable position.
And exactly. And I think deep down, he knows there is a lot of truth to what you're saying and maybe less truth to what he's saying, but he's riding the cause. He's riding the wave. He's riding the lightning. So it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I can't help but I suppose respect his loyalty for the cause and his ideological centering. But it gets to a point, man. I mean, the entire MAGA base has turned. Every single person, for better or worse. Of course, some people have turned for their own motives, but people have really just turned because this is highly unfavorable. And it doesn't take an expert to, exact opposite of what he campaigned on. So it doesn't take an expert to really debunk it. So it's a losing position, but I liked it. It was very calm, cordial. You guys didn't throw any insults at each other, which I expected because, again, he's usually a class act. I've seen a couple of his debates. He's always been really good. But some of those things he was saying, man, it was a bit of this moment for me. But it was you did a really good job. It was good. So
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
So did you hear this shit about David and getting arrested or whatever? This news breaking, or are you not keeping up with that?
I haven't been keeping up with it too much, but let's go into it real quick. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I was watching this thing. Let me see if I can get it here. Give me one sec.
Sure.
Let me minimize this. Yeah, just share my top screen. Give me one sec. Some of my shit.
And while you're doing that, I'll just read this one chat. Free Palestine says, break down or even ask Myron why they want Cuba. Yeah, I mean, did you want to answer that? Why the United States wants Cuba?
Why do we want Cuba?
Yeah. I mean, currently, there's no real pressing reason, right? Previously, it was to remove the Soviet influence, but now it's just an island that means little to nothing.
It's just really control. It's ensuring that we have this side of the hemisphere locked down.
Yeah.
And Cuba, a lot of people don't know this. Cuba actually is like has some of the best intelligence services in the world. And they sell our secrets all the time to Russians and everything else like that because they're so close to us. You look at someone like Diana Montez case, another State Department. I think she worked for DIA. She got caught selling secrets to the Cubans. A guy from State Department. So they're good at what they do and sell our intel on the black market all the time to our adversaries. So I think it's just really about like finally getting control of that island who's been kind of a thorn on our side, right, real close to our thing. So it's really strategic and geography based as to why.
Yeah.
Because I don't even.
Sure.
I'm trying to think here. What the fuck Cuba produces? That's of interest to us.
I think previously, I suppose it was cane sugar, right? Like all the other Caribbean islands, but now I don't know if Cuba is really that much of an asset for the United States to have full autonomy over, besides the fact that they can pose a threat or pose a risk in regards to intel or relationships with the Soviet Union or really Russia now at this point. But yeah, historically, Cuba was much more of a threat than it is now. And now they have no oil. Right now they have no energy because we've cut that tie off from Venezuela. So
I'm looking right now. Tobacco, cigars, rum and beverages, sugar and agricultural products, and nickel and cobalt. Those are the key Cuban products and potential U.S. benefits.
Negligible exports. It's really
negligible. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not like oil or some other energy-based resource that's extremely important. But yeah, I think that one is just more about influence, controlling this hemisphere, and kind of just getting rid of the Cuba problem that's been a problem since
the quote unquote communism.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I think that's what it is really, is to curb that side of to curb that influence on our side of the country. Sorry, on our side of the world. I was watching this David thing right here. They picked him up and arrested him today. That's breaking news from a couple hours ago for murder. What I'm doing now is kind of going through the facts that led. Basically, long story about if you might not know, his I don't know if it's his girl or whatever, but a girl was found in a Tesla registered in his name, dead, weeks later, and if they find a dead person in a car registered to your name, you're probably gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. They finally picked bro up.
Sus.
But what I was talking about is they didn't even do a criminal complaint or file anything formal, bro. They just went and picked his ass up. So, and they've been investigating him for a minute. I remember this story broke out last year. So, they're just now getting to this.
So this guy is a prominent singer, huh?
Yes.
And where have I been? Because I've never really heard of him up until
I would
he's
think your
21.
generation would know more.
Yeah, he's Gen Z. He's 21, but I guess I'm just not privy to the music scene. Never really heard of him. But I did see this on my X timeline, so let's watch. I want to see what they're going to say.
A multi-million-dollar property that David was apparently renting, and it was
This video is a little bit older, but it goes over like some of the stuff. But I brought you up to speed about what so far.
reported that David recently broke that lease.
And then we can cover the blockade and the war after this.
The New York Post saying it was for
nothing pressing
$20,000 a month, and he moved all of his stuff out of there. The Daily Mail apparently obtained photos of large boxes being moved out of that house on September 24th. So this is about a week after the property was searched by authorities pursuant to a search warrant. TMZ reported that they maybe were looking for blood evidence or hair sample evidence. NBC reported that law enforcement sources were saying police were looking for various things, including digital devices that may contain material potentially linking Celeste to that property.
And this chick was like 14 or 15, and he's 21?
Oh, shit. Well, he's
how old is he? Wait,
He's
how old
21.
was he?
He was born in 2005. He's 21. So, what was she, 15 or 14? What state were they in?
California.
What's the age of consent there? It's definitely not that young.
I think it's 18.
Yeah.
He's 18.
I would assume Cali's higher.
Let me look right now.
I'm down south, niggas. That shit's like 10.
Yeah. Let's see here. Age of consent.
I know a lot of states, like 16. I think Connecticut is 16.
Yeah. So it's 18 in California, and then
Right, well,
so let me see Romeo and Juliet laws.
He's kicked.
There is no Romeo and Juliet laws. Oh wow.
No.
Okay. For those of you guys that don't know, Romeo and Juliet laws are basically laws that, like, there's, you know, if a girl's underage or one of the parties is underage, if they're within a certain age range, it's acceptable. So, like, let's say the girl is 15 and you're 18, right? That's going to be within the window where, though she might be considered a minor, you're close enough in age to her where it's not necessarily like criminalized.
Problem, yeah. I believe Connecticut has that. I think it's like, 2 or 3 years. Check Connecticut. Let's see.
Yeah, so allows individual connectors, blah, 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 petition for possession, expanded registration. So yeah, Florida has Romeo and Juliet laws.
Wait, so let me just get this straight. He was 21, messing with a 14 or 15-year-old, and that same girl was unfortunately found killed inside of his Tesla.
Yeah, pretty much. Crazy.
Yeah, that's just an L top to bottom. Even if he's acquitted of the murder, now he's a pedo forever, I guess. So it's like double
assuming
L.
Yeah, I mean,
bro's got no way out of this.
Up, but I'm assuming they were.
Yeah.
TMZ reported also that LAPD
I think so, more than likely.
detectives left with a computer and several.
Bro, you know how these music niggas are. They're sus, bro.
Several evidence bags. An LAPD spokesperson told People, quote, several items of evidence were recovered and will be analyzed by detectives in the coming days.
Bro, all you young guys, bro, just make sure she's 18, bro. Fuck that. Don't deal with these Romeo. It ain't worth it.
Yo, bro.
Investigators are following up on several
niggas
leads.
Be playing the game like you'll be 20, a bitch will be 17. Don't even bother. Like, don't even bother.
Bro.
Yeah.
Just put her on layaway, bro. Wait a year, nigga. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, don't.
You will get ostracized so quickly. And look, sometimes the gap is odd, but right, if you have a situation where you're 20 and she's 17, is that really inherently that bad? No. Maybe people will say, oh, it's impressionable, whatever, but there's no real issue there. But it's just best to stay away from such an age gap. Unfortunately, that's just the case. So you got to play it very safe.
Yep, absolutely, bro.
E-News reported that law enforcement sources with knowledge of the case said that electronics and computers were removed. Now, in terms of David, he's been radio silent. No word we've seen. We don't even know where he is right now. And while it was reported that David initially had been cooperating with the investigation, his representative reportedly told NBC Los Angeles that he's, quote, fully cooperating with the authorities. Los Angeles Police Department Captain, Commanding Officer Scott Williams couldn't confirm to People whether the singer was in fact cooperating. Williams also said to People that regarding a relationship or a romantic relationship between David and Celeste, quote, it would be premature for me to say anything. We're looking into everything.
Yeah, so they don't know. And he's not going to obviously talk about that shit.
Now, TMZ reported that people in the industry believed 20-year-old David and Celeste were dating, and that many
So she was 20. Okay, he was 20.
believed. She was actually 19 years old. She
Wait, what?
was actually in the 7th grade, by the way. And right now,
Yeah, what?
there are those, particularly online, who are
Wait, the grade
analyzing
makes it worse than the age. I don't know.
Yeah,
Hearing 7th
what
grade
the
makes it
hell?
much worse.
Nigga, she's not even in high school. What are you doing?
potential link, any potential evidence of the two of them seen together, whether it was apparently a photo, whether it was a live stream. There has also been reporting that they shared the same tattoo on their fingers, which was apparently a key identifier
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
of
That's a
Celeste's
giveaway.
body. Now, there are individuals who have looked to clues in his shows or his songs for alleged connections to Celeste, and to be clear, nothing has officially been verified. Here's the thing, even if you look at
quick question,
lyrics
has there
from
been an
his song
autopsy?
Romantic Homicide,
They figure out the cause of death.
Yeah, they did. They did. They did. I don't know what the cause of death was, but they did do it. But they found the body way after. Air Fried says, Fear, just checking in and got off work from the hospital surgical here in Canada. The ladies from FNF were insufferable. On top of that, the two hoes at the end, mad disrespectful. Asked them if they should leave. Fuck out of here. Yeah, bro. That's what pissed me off when they said that shit about, oh, should we just leave? Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Like, your friend is on OnlyFans. Like, she's here benefiting, and you have the nerve to say that? Get out of here.
back in 2022, this is what seems to be creating the conversation. The lyrics say, I mean, even in the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear.
Oh, they're about to use the music?
Yeah.
Oh, they're about to dirk him.
Yeah.
They're about to hit him with the
They're about
dirk.
to hit him with a little dirk, bro. These niggas be
Oh,
telling on themselves, bro.
But-
Yo.
Niggas be telling
One
on
thing to be a
themselves.
rapper and telling
Pooh
yourself. but
Shiesty
it's-
too. Pooh Shiesty, I think, didn't he get caught for some lyrics as well?
No, Gucci put out some lyrics basically where he was like kind of self-snitching on well, not self-snitching, but like snitching on
Vaughn had
no,
to
no,
be an
Vaughn,
example.
oh yeah, Vaughn had self-snitch, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Again, nothing remotely to suggest this has anything to do with Celeste. Now, I also sat down with criminal defense attorney William Corman. We did a full sidebar on this. And I asked him, okay, if you're representing David right now, what should he be doing? And what do you think his attorneys are up to? What would you advise him if you were representing him right now?
Not to say anything and not to do anything. If I was an
Yeah.
attorney, what I would advise him to do is lay low, do nothing, don't obstruct the investigation, but we're under no obligation to cooperate with it either, and just let your lawyers do what they need to.
Yeah, bro. Yo, honestly, guys, you should never talk to the police, chat, ever, bro. Under any circumstance, never talk to the cops, bro. Telling you guys, this is a former law enforcement guy. Never, ever, 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 ever talk to the police, dude. There's no benefit from it. And honestly, let's say you have like exculpatory evidence that like can redeem, that can like, exculpatory means like to exclude you to prove your innocence. Let your lawyer do that for you. Don't sit down with a detective or a criminal investigator of some kind and show them the evidence that shows that you're cleared. Like, no, get a lawyer and have the lawyer do it for you.
Yeah. There's never
do
people
in
talk
order-
way just to add to that, people talk way too much to the cops when it's unnecessary. Even when I get pulled over, man, I'll be so respectful to the cop. But bro, I could have Tokyo drifted on the on-ramp, nigga. I could have did some GTA shit. He asks me why he pulled me over. He's like, you know why I pulled you over? No clue. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, actually. It was
Yeah.
just a nice day before you pulled me over, officer.
Yeah.
But people are just so quick to admit to guilt. That's obviously a less extreme example. But yeah, never talk to the police. Even because you might walk yourself from being completely innocent and them having no ability to actually detain or arrest you to being inside of an investigation room, right? Or like an interrogation room. So very, very, you got to shut your mouth when you talk. Say, you know what? I'll take your car to you talk to my lawyer.
Yep, exactly, bro. Because the other thing too, you guys got to understand is like, because what will happen is like the cops will try to minimize, like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. We're not saying you're a murderer or whatever, but X, Y, Z. Like, and a lot of people don't want to be looked at as a bad guy. So like they'll come in and they'll like, admit to some shit that might have been lesser, but that's where they got you. Even if it's like a minor crime, like they got you on something. So it just doesn't benefit you to talk to cops ever. The only time that it would benefit you to talk to cops is if you're like cooperating in an investigation and you got your lawyer with you and you're doing it under like what's called a 5K or like under a Castigar, which basically gives you immunity. So, but other than that, dude, there's really no reason to ever talk to the police. And if you do talk to them, it's going to be under the auspice of your lawyer where there's some type of agreement where none of that shit that you say can be used against you. But 100%. Talking to cops without a lawyer is the dumbest thing you could do, even if you're innocent. It, like, if anything, if you're guilty, definitely don't talk. But if you're innocent, don't talk to them either. because they can muddy things up and make it look like you're not innocent.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
and just be polite about it. Look, I don't talk to the police without a lawyer present. I want a lawyer. No offense to you, but like I just don't talk to law enforcement without a lawyer present. So, yeah.
Get from point A to point B. I would imagine there's some communication, and what it really is you're informing the prosecutors of where your client is, your client's availability. What you don't want is for them to come into your client's house in the middle of the night and arrest them in a situation.
Oh yeah. Also, you were in Suleiman Space talking about the thing, right? So we'll cover that next.
Yeah, I actually wanted to really quickly cover. Did you see the controversy with LeBron James shitting on Memphis?
No. Cue it up though. We can do it after.
It's very funny. We could do it. Yeah, we could do it after this if you want, or we could do it after the Iran situation. But I thought it was hilarious.
Like this.
Okay, yeah, cue it up.
I reach out to prosecutors where I think I have a client who's a suspect. I say, look, you know me. Let us know where you need us to be. We will turn ourselves in at any moment, rather than you coming to my client's house or my client's place of business, 10 officers deep and taking down the door.
Actually, that's another good thing with having a lawyer too, Chad, is like they can facilitate this for you should they have probable cause for you where it's like not as, bad.
Let's cooperate with you. You know what we're going to do. We're going to turn ourselves in if and when it gets to that stage of the game.
I'm also going to tell you this. The death of Celeste has had notable ripple effects for David. So on one hand, aside from the pause on his tour and his album, it was announced that Crocs and Hollister had pulled promotional images of the singer from their marketing campaigns after this body was found in the car registered to his name.
Sorry, I got a retard in my chat. Puerto Rico 19. Yo, enjoy the Shadow Realm, motherfucker.
I'll read.
Bro,
these
keep
two chats.
spamming. Make the Kindle on Amazon, idiot. But
yo, did you see? I'll say it in a second. But Thoughtic says, "How long until you quit your job?" I don't know. Who knows? Hopefully soon. Hopefully not. Doesn't really matter. Sagno Sprite, are you watching the NBA playing tomorrow? No, but you reminded me about the LeBron situation, so thank you, because that shit's really funny. And yo, did you see the TikTok I sent you? That girl reading your book.
Yeah, that show's funny. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll show it later. Yeah. But go ahead.
All right. Okay.
Name. On the other hand, on a benefit, Vice reported that on September 13th, he gained over 22,000 followers on Spotify, an over 250% increase. On social media, he gained over 25,000 new Instagram followers. He has 2 million on Instagram right now, 4 million on TikTok, almost 2.3 million on YouTube. So perhaps suggesting people's interest in this case, or him growing in popularity because of all this news. Not entirely clear, but significant nonetheless. It was notable what LAPD Captain Scott Williams also said to People. And when I say People, I mean People magazine. As we think about David and we think about this investigation, he said, "We know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the front trunk area of David Burke's Tesla," so officially confirming that it was his car. We know.
I wonder what the fucking intent was.
That's so weird.
That the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez had been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not determined a cause or manner of her death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body. In other words, did someone find her dead? Did she die under other circumstances? They panicked and tried.
All right, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and let me get the other clip I had here. I had another. Oh yeah, we got a couple things we can react to. We got secret damage in Iran war revealed. Ben Shapiro apparently exposing me and Sneako.
That's gonna be funny.
Yeah, it is. Hold on. There was now I'm gonna show you guys this thing real fast. Oh, hold on. Discord. Boom. Right? Let's see. Now this is the breaking news.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division
Yo, One Chess, can you get this loser on OSS?
have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the DA's office on Monday for filing consideration. You may remember, and we've been reporting, Rivas's body was found in the trunk of David's car in September of last year. She was only 14 years old. Again,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
This breaking news just into our newsroom. We're working to get more
Cooked. And bro was
keep that nigga locked up. I'm not gonna lie to you,
information,
bro.
and we'll continue to follow this story.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get a bond, bro.
Yeah.
He probably won't get a bond.
No way.
So.
We do want to go ahead and bring in now ABC's Alex Stone on the phone to speak more about this case. Alex, you've been following this from the very beginning. What can you tell us as far as this breaking information goes this afternoon?
Well, Mark and Michelle, yeah, sources are telling us that this is based off of evidence that the LAPD was able to gather and put together and now is going to be presenting to the LA County DA for a filing decision on Monday. This was not from any kind of indictment. We know that the case had gone to a grand jury. It was expected that there might be an indictment coming sometime soon. We were thinking in the last couple of months or in the next few weeks. This was not from that. We are told that this is evidence that they have been compiling going back to when her body was found last September, that now they have reached a point where they believe they have probable cause, and it's gone to the DA.
All right. And so a lot of people wondering, you know, so many things seem to point to him. Why did it take them this long to make the arrest? We know they're pretty methodical about how they do things, but...
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the things that they were waiting on, Mark, was the cause of death. And there was difficulty reaching that cause of death, not to get too graphic, but her body was in multiple parts. It was in, we know from court documents, two different...
Oh, they chopped her up?
Oh, shit.
Oh, what?
Yeah, well, that changes everything.
Okay.
Body bags in the front trunk of that Tesla when her body was found. So it was difficult for the medical examiner to determine the cause of death.
You're telling me the LAPD is on this and not the FBI?
Yeah. I mean, it's murder one. Murder one always goes to... Premeditated murder almost always goes to the state and locals.
Even with a big, high-profile person like this guy? I mean, I didn't know who this guy was before, but maybe I'm just...
The only time you're gonna see like the feds take over like a premeditated murder is like the other day. Did you see the minor that got arrested for killing his sister in like a cruise, a Carnival cruise thing?
Yeah.
So that one they took because it's a crime on the high seas. So since it was a crime on the high seas, FBI comes and takes it over.
Okay.
If you're like, normally like it's gonna be the state police, county sheriffs, or city police department that's gonna take cut and dry murder cases like this.
Interesting. Okay.
Even serial killers. Yeah. Feds only come in when there's like some type of federal nexus that the state can't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's my time.
Prove or be able to show to the DA that she was murdered, that it wasn't something else.
Like if you murder someone like in the middle of a bank robbery, then they can go after you for murder. But that's only because bank robbery in itself is a federal crime.
Got it.
Where, let's say that she overdosed and then somebody freaked out and put her body in that trunk. They have to be able to prove that it was murder. They now believe that they can do that.
All right.
Yeah, we also know, David, as many entertainers do.
They probably know what the cause of death is. They don't want to reveal it though to the public yet for investigation, because they're probably going to try to talk to this David guy or other witnesses. But the police do that a lot, where they won't reveal certain things to the media, so that they know that they got their guy or whatever. When information comes out, they tactically and strategically leave certain things out when they do their press releases.
Had an entourage of people around him at times. I know some other individuals have been considered as drivers of this vehicle or either around. Any information on possibly how this could impact other people that David was around that also may have been around Celeste Rivas?
Michelle, we don't know yet, and if there are any other arrests that are going to be coming in this case. We know that there were a number of witnesses who came and testified in front of the grand jury again.
And I know that they did a search warrant in one of his houses too.
This was not an indictment. This is probable cause that the LAPD put together and moved forward on. But during the grand jury proceedings, which are secret as they're ongoing, that there were a number of other people who came forward, those who are close to David, friends of David, family members of his were subpoenaed to go in front of the grand jury. So if there are other arrests that could be coming, we don't know. But as of right now, he is the only one that we know of under arrest.
All right, singer David under arrest.
Cooked. All right. You said you had something that you want to share, right? Because I got the exposing. I guarantee. I wonder if he's going to put me in here too.
No, we got to watch that. That's golden. We can look at this LeBron thing very quickly because I think you're going to get a kick out of it, and then we'll jump into that. We'll go into like Shapiro. We'll kind of branch off into the war. It'll segue nicely. But okay, here you should be able to see my screen.
Okay.
So you're able to see that?
Yep, I do.
All right. So just for a quick briefing for those of you who are, just take yours off so I can get.
You can
mine.
make it. Oh yeah. Unless if you can make yours larger too. Let me get mine.
Just so I can have all three of them. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I guess LeBron was golfing with some really rich people. This was everywhere. I'm surprised he didn't see it. And he was trashing
the ball down?
Yeah, Bron shit gone, nigga. That's it. It's over for him. But he was trashing Memphis. He says he hates to play in Memphis. And, of course, Memphis is, I suppose, a pivotal or very important city during the 1960s civil rights movement. It's, got a lot of historical, rich black culture history to it. And so... Precisely. And so, LeBron was golfing with these really rich, I suppose, white affluent men, and his tone of voice was so much different than that of what it usually is. And you just got to listen. I mean, we'll look at the backlash after, but this is the clip. And he's getting ravaged by the black community. What's this guy's name here?
Oh,
he was on Piers Morgan with you.
Yeah, it's on Piers Morgan with me. I forget this guy's name, but yeah, he's a pro-black. I call him a Wakanda nigga, but
yeah, he's a Wakanda nigga for sure. So he reacted to it. I thought it was funny, but
when he's one of these like pro-black people that are super woke and like white supremacy this, white supremacy that. What's his name? Someone in the chat I put Lamont Hill. There we go. Lamont Hill.
Yeah, so he's very vocal against white institutional racism, so on and so forth. All of these left-wing talking buzzwords that a lot of FBA or pro-black sentiment individuals use. And so that's kind of his framework. But this clip really triggered that guy and the crowd that's akin to that guy. So let's just watch.
This was probably Joe Budden too, right? Joe Budden was there.
It was on Joe Budden shit. Yeah, they were all crying about it. But
bitch, bro.
Yeah, he's always bitching about something. So you're going to watch the clip. I have to admit, LeBron's tone did sound different here, but it's just so funny. So here, let's see.
You gotta be strategic, man.
And at the fucking Hyatt at 41 years old. You think I want to do that shit? Being in Memphis on a fucking random ass Thursday. I'm not like the first guy to even talk about it in the NBA. Like we all like, you guys have to move. Just go over to Nashville. You got Vanderbilt over there. You got the fucking NASCAR. You got a stadium. Don't they got a hockey team too?
Yeah, Predators.
This nigga talking about hockey. Do you see how he's talking? Nobody wants to go to Memphis and shit. Like LeBron never talks like that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This is full-fledged code switching right here. I'll be totally real with you. He may have not have known this is being filmed.
Does he really say that?
Huh?
I haven't watched one of his interviews in a very long time.
It's not that LeBron is poorly spoken or anything like that, or he talks like Pooh Shiesty. It's just that he's never really this far in that direction. Like, there's usually some sort of like, okay, this is a black man talking to his voice and his tonality. But right off the rip, he's like, gotta play in Memphis and shit. Then he says he'd rather play in Nashville. Nashville is like white as fuck. So, yeah. But let's see what else he's, and then we'll see the response in the backlash he got.
Everything.
Doesn't look like LeBron's going to be on the Grizzlies anytime soon, so Grizzly fans out there.
Yeah, they know. Their only chance was in 2003 if they would have won the lottery to get me there. And I might have pulled a Eli Manning and not showed up.
And obviously this looks bad because Bron is the only black guy golfing with these really rich white people, so they're calling him an Uncle Tom, presumably, saying now he's, appeasing to the white man. So this was the response from like some of these Memphis niggas. This is funny.
He came from nothing, and I feel like he just got privileged now, and it's just a privilege thing.
He's really finna get retired, so I'm not even worried about him.
We struggle. He really finna get retired, so I ain't even worried about him. All right, nigga, whatever that means. He's a kid. I go rip on him.
He's really finna get retired, so I'm not even worried about him.
We struggle in some areas, but we don't sell out. And I think LeBron showed what a sellout he is.
LeBron, he came.
And this is him being asked about it.
Did I say I don't like black people?
No, I didn't say that. But there were people who were wondering why Memphis was targeted. Like
Milwaukee was too. Did they miss that one too? They didn't see that.
Like, bro, you cannot. This is what the fuck I'm saying. You can't win, bro. You literally can't win. God forbid a nigga don't want to play in Memphis. And by the way, the whole reason why NBA players rip on Memphis, this is the thing, is because I guess first of all, it's Memphis. Let's be real. Second of all, I think the hotel sucks really bad. I think it's like not a good hotel. There's some like buzz around not liking to play in Memphis, but they're doing this whole racial spinoff, giving this guy a hard time. You can't win with these niggas, bro.
Well, you can't
win. It's fucking good.
No, that's why, like, that's why when I got the original Backlash with the whole, like, you know, we don't dabble into the dark and stuff like that, people started crying. I didn't care, bro, because it's like you're never, like, it's almost better. It's okay. I'm just gonna say this. What I'm gonna say does not reflect the opinion of my brother, by the way, FYI. I just want to make that very clear. What I'm gonna say does not reflect what he thinks. There's no point with like trying to dance around this topic, or, you know, because a lot of people like walk on eggshells when they talk about this shit, right? Because they don't want to deal with this, because they know that the black community is super sensitive. They're going to cry. They're going to complain, all this other bullshit, right? So what's up happening is you're better off just like saying what you want to say and ripping that racism band-aid off rip earlier in your career, because you're better off doing that than, you know, 5-10 years down the road, right? You're walking on eggshells, not trying to say anything offensive to the black community. You don't want to be labeled a racist or whatever. And then you say one thing like LeBron here, like, yeah, I don't want to go to Memphis. And then they come to the conclusion that you're talking about black people. We didn't say the word black was not even used one time there. Yeah. But they came to the conclusion based on who he is, who he's with, etc. And they're looking at it from a context perspective. So the issue is that if you're in entertainment long enough, they're going to be able to pin you to some level of racism. So you're better off just ripping the Band-Aid off early and just being a real nigga. Say, fuck y'all, I don't care what kind of niggas got to say. Okay? You bunch of chimps. And play the freeze the sound effect, you know, which I just hit right there, the hello monkey shit. Like, because you're just better off doing that. Because if you build an audience, right? Because so many people are terrified of like losing their audience, losing their market share. If you build an audience always walking on eggshells, it's just a matter of time until you walk on the eggshell, it cracks, and then everybody goes crazy on you. Rip the Band-Aid off early, let niggas call you a racist, say fuck off, and then build an audience off of being authentic. Like, yes, it's going to be slower. Yes, you're going to get censored. Yes, people are going to hate you. But the people that do fuck with you end up fucking with you for real. This dumbass nigga, Los Pollos, right, who I was making fun of yesterday, this motherfucker is a bitch, right? And I'll tell you why. He made a comment about ICE and supporting ICE. And them doing their jobs. Hasan makes a post roasting him for that, and the dude, buckles and says, "Oh well, you know, I didn't mean it like that," and blah blah blah. And he got an enormous amount of pressure. Why? Because he had not kept it real with his audience from the beginning. So they gave him a bunch of backlash because they're like, "Oh well, what do you mean, ICE? Like, bro, aren't you supposed to be like this progressive?" So, because he's a Twitch streamer, we already know how to. You got what you got to be politically when you're a Twitch streamer 9 out of 10 times. So, like, he didn't rip the Band-Aid off early in his career. So since he didn't rip the Band-Aid off, he says something like that. They're like, what the hell? What is this side of you? But this happens all the time when you walk on eggshells. So I'd rather be real from the beginning, lose the fair weather fans, lose the snowflakes, and then just rebuild that audience of real niggas. Yes, it's going to be slower. Yes, it's going to be harder. Yes, it's going to be tougher with censorship. But the people that you do get, there ain't going to be no fucking weird ass like, oh, such and such is facing backlash from their audience. 9 out of 10 times when you get backlash from your audience, it's you weren't authentic with them, and then they saw a side of you that they're not used to, and then they're losing their minds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important as a content creator, any of these guys in the space, to just wear their heart on their sleeve, because the short-term effect is kind of negative and it can hurt. It's a bit brash, but the long-term fruits are worth it. You know, you have a loyal following, a loyal audience that's ideologically centered with what you believe in or parallel to you. So, yeah, the whole playing face shit and then taking what you said back, that will destroy your credibility. And that's kind of like, not to go so off topic, that's the whole Gaza situation. October 7th happened, and so many people went, well, you know, I don't know. I have no opinion there. After some time, we saw like kids were just getting bombed for no reason, and there was no condemnation there. And so people got what they deserved, which was not wearing your heart on your sleeve, not being honest about who you are. And it's got to be draining to show a face all the time. Like, you know, just stay true to what your real belief is. And that's always going to work out for you long term, no matter the censorship or the cancellation. And in this situation with LeBron, you know, he's being, and we'll play the clip in a moment here so you'll understand what I'm saying. He doubles down here and does not give any of the race theory or the fact that he was attacking blacks weight. He says, I said what I said, and your connotation or your spinoff is yours. That's not what I meant. And that's so important. You know, when you apologize, then you just canceled yourself. You cannot apologize. Like,
you can't.
Did you mean that about black people? Yep, I meant it. Even if you didn't mean it, now you got to mean it, nigga. Because if you say you didn't mean it, then now you're cooked, because now you've corrected your previous position. You're admitting to fault. You're admitting to guilt. That is the fuel. That is the food source in which the left or whatever real ideology is going to come for your neck. They'll use that and finish you. You know, they'll deliver the final finishing blow. And people have been kind of waking up to this. LeBron is smart. Instead of apologizing, he said, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's true. He didn't even say anything about black people. Nigga, who want to play in Memphis, bro? Nigga, who wants to go to Memphis, bro? Like, let's be real. What the fuck is in Memphis? And it's not attacking the people of Memphis. It's not attacking blacks. That's not a desirable city to visit, to live in. Hello? What the fuck? That's not even that hot of a take. You can't win. Like you said, it's like walking on eggshells. But apologizing is a huge mistake. I can't tell you how many content creators apologize. Don't apologize. Even if you know you made a mistake.
Use this. Remember Neon? Neon made some comments about black people. Bro, nigga apologized and everything, right? He goes on Breakfast Club and they still grill him about his comments on black people.
They shredded him
and I was
to death.
like, yo, this is why you can never apologize to these niggas, bro. Because even if you apologize, they're gonna come at you anyway. So you might as well say fuck it, bro, and throw the Roman and say screw you. They're gonna cuck you no matter what.
Yeah.
Look at Ye. He apologized, you know, kissed the rabbi, all that shit. Niggas still blocked him from the UK from doing shows.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's not enough, because the problem is when you apologize, now they got the power. And then they can still fuck you up, and they do it and they'll do it anyway. So there's no point reasoning with these people. There is no reason with these fucking losers. You just like, you got to stay double down. Never apologize to the woke mob, bro.
Yeah,
because they're gonna continue to attack you no matter what.
You have to be an opposing faction. You can't. Once you say sorry, you have effectively crossed out your position and then stepped over the line and joined them, and that looks so disingenuous. It looks like you have no backbone. It looks like you have no spine. So as extreme as you may have came off with whatever you said that got you quote unquote canceled, if you don't stand on it, you'll actually get more canceled, right? And maybe you can clarify what you were saying, but to say I'm sorry to anybody that was offended, fuck that. If somebody was offended, maybe the shoe had just fit, or maybe they were imposing themselves on something that had nothing to do with them. And that's the whole woke mob's issue, is they think they're the main character. You know, they think that they're always being spoken about. Nigga, LeBron trying to play some golf with his rich white niggas. By the way, LeBron is a multi-billionaire, probably. So, I mean, most of the people
I don't know if he's a billion yet, but he's worth hundreds of millions, yeah.
Nah, he's a billionaire. He has a $1 billion contract with Nike, yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, LeBron is definitely a billionaire. So, for him, the people that he's hanging out with, what the fuck, you know, what do you think? He's going to be hanging out with Memphis niggas? I mean, like, this is, why are we not on reality? You know, let's come back to earth here. LeBron's not about to be in the streets.
I love how they just come to the conclusion that him saying I don't like Memphis is automatically against black people. Bro, there's lots of white people that live in Memphis too, idiots.
Yeah.
Let me see here with the population demographic. How much you want to bet?
Black community, but I don't know if it's majority.
Yeah, let me see here. Let me see Memphis racial demographics. I'll tell you right now. So, nigga. Oh, man. Okay, as of 2022, 2024 data, the population is roughly 62 to 63%. Oh, no, black. Okay, my bad. Okay, 23 to 24% white. Okay, I thought it was white. That was 62%. My bad. So 60% black? Oh, yeah, no, he's right, bro. Fuck that. I'm out. No, fuck that. Yeah. 62% is correct.
Yo, nigga.
Fuck
and it's like, you know, bro, I was seeing all the responses on TikTok. There were so many woke FBA annoying ass people responding to this saying, how could you do this? You backstabbed us. You make money. You switched up. Like, you guys do. And no hate to LeBron, really.
Bro. Hispanics are 10. Whites are 23 or 24%. Blacks are 60%. Asian is 1.7. And then 2 or more races, 10%. Yeah.
Okay, it's majority. Yeah. It's overwhelmingly black. And here's the thing. I was at least refreshed because a lot of people, you can actually see the TikTok comment section here. Somebody put Squidward sticking up the middle fingers saying, bro, double down, bro, to everybody. But like, I was refreshed to see there was a lot of black people that went, come on, what are we doing? Because this is where, look, and if you're, I'll even concede here. If you're black and you're on the left, that's your prerogative, no issue. But if you're getting triggered like by shit like this, hey, bro, there's no hope for like your movement or what you want to do with your political beliefs because you're just way too soft. You know, and I think the first step to actually being likable, the first step to actually being you know, actually like somebody who's worth listening to as a black person on the left, like Lamont Hill or these others, is being honest that when blacks take up a majority of a space, there seems to be issues. And so that's where we have to kind of turn the finger around and look at ourselves, get in the mirror and say, what can we do to help ourselves? And I monologued about that the other day on stream. And that's not a message of hate. That's not a message of being rambunctious or being bombastic or provocative. That's just saying we have issues that I want to fix, and it all starts with I. It all starts with us, we, instead of white man, white man, white man. LeBron triggered us. LeBron backstabbed us. Bro, LeBron was the same nigga wearing the BLM shirts during 2020, doing this shit on his knee during the national anthem. Like, and this is what I say. All these athletes are just sticks in the wind, bro. They don't actually have a political centering. Maybe besides like Kyrie. Kyrie's kind of crazy on this shit. They just really want to play basketball, and whatever political opinion the NBA is motivating them to uphold, they will do so. And that's just what the fuck it is. They're all center left or super left idiots who don't know anything, and they get paid to play the sport, bro. So why the fuck are you triggered about LeBron saying that? You know, LeBron may not even known that Memphis was a majority black city. So anyway, let's watch reporters harass him.
Did I say I don't like black people?
Oh, real quick,
Say that.
Guys, we're gonna finish the reaction over. I'm ending my YouTube stream now, guys. Come on over to Kick. I'm ending my YouTube stream, or you guys could go to my brother's stream as well if you guys want. Matter of fact, open up 2 tabs. Open one, Riyadh's report. Give him a like. Follow his channel. Let's get him to 20,000. He's 800 away from 20,000 followers on YouTube. And then come on over to my Kick. So open up a tab. Watch my brother on YouTube if you guys prefer YouTube, and then open up a tab. Watch me on Kick as well. Helps so much, guys, because as you guys know, Kickbait goes off of live viewership. So I'm ending the JTube right now. Come on over, guys. Open up a tab on YouTube for my brother. Search Riyadh's report. Mods, throw his link in the chat and throw mine. And yeah, I'm ending YouTube right now. We're going to continue the breakdown. And then also, we're going to cover Ben Shapiro talking about Sneako and me. We're going to talk about the secret damage in Iran with the rescue operation. We're going to cover some more of the war, the blockade. So me and my brother are going to chop it up for a bit. We'll be on for a while. So come on over, guys. Kick.com/MyronGainsX and then YouTube.com/Riyadh's report. YouTube going down right now for me.
From Malik Harris, thank you for the 07. Appreciate the super chat, bro. Okay. So,
right,
yeah, where were we? Okay, let's see what they said to LeBron.
But there were people who were wondering why Memphis was targeted. Like
Milwaukee was too. Did they miss that one too? They didn't see that?
Not as much commentary.
Oh, yeah, okay. I said Milwaukee as well. Yeah. 41 years old. It's 2 cities I do not like playing in right now. And that's Milwaukee and that's Memphis. What is your problem? I don't like going home either. Shit, and I'm from there. What is people are ridiculous. They also get mad at my son being on the team too. So what are we talking about? Okay, people need to figure out other ways.
Milwaukee. Pause it real quick. Milwaukee is black is 37 to 38%. Milwaukee is 31 to 32% white. So it's a little bit closer. It's a little almost even.
That's still a lot of blacks. That's still a lot.
Yeah,
so.
a lot. But yeah, bro, like it's crazy how they just came to that conclusion automatically. Like it's like they got a guilty conscience. Oh, he's talking shit about Memphis is because there's niggas there. Like, bro.
But it's like, hey, if the shoe fits,
win,
you know, you're bitching and moaning. He didn't mention you, and yet you feel so mentioned. So I suppose the shoe fits. But if you're secure in yourself, if you're secure in your people, then you shouldn't feel so.
Bro, this is why the black fatigue is crazy, bro.
Yeah,
this is why the fatigue is so high, man.
Also, let's acknowledge like Memphis is a shit city though. So like,
it is.
Hey, he's not wrong. Hey, maybe that hurt, but he's also not lying. So where are we gonna bridge the gap there? Like he's not lying, and he's not wrong. So like, are you just gonna negate the fact that what he said was true? I think every single other NBA player has said several things similar to this. This is like not the first time somebody said it, but of course because it was Bron and shit, and him being with the white niggas golfing didn't help. But like that's just I mean, and
you're already mad about that.
Yeah, I'll admit though that was a code switch. But everybody does that. Hey, if I get into the elevator and it's some nigga with a fucking ski mask, I'm not gonna go, hey man, how you doing? How's the day going? I'm like, what up, nigga? Like I'm not, you know, you have to have that ability to code switch. And if you don't get this as a black person, seriously, get the fuck off the stream. Like if there's white people in the lobby in my apartment, hey guys, what's up? What's going on? You know, just getting back from work. Have a great day, guys. Have a great day. You know, if big black 6'2", 200-pound nigga gets in the elevator and an elderly white woman with her small fluffy white dying dog is in the corner, I'm not gonna go, fuck going on, nigga? Like I'm gonna scare the shit out of her. I have to fucking disarm her fucking bias of her thinking that I'm about to fucking kidnap her or kill her. So It's called code switching, you know, like people are different, races are different.
Not being a retard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's inherent, by the way. Like that's not something that you should have to teach yourself, but people are different, cultures are different, people speak differently, communicate differently, so that's fine. If you want to get somewhere in life, you need to know how to code switch. You know, you walk into a room full of affluent white men, you want to get some sort of opportunity to make money, get a job, get some business proposal, get some investments. Well then, you know, watch the way you dress and watch the way you speak. And the exact opposite is true as well. If you're at a gas station on the shitty side of the city at 2 a.m. pumping gas and, you know, you got to go in and get some fucking whatever, you got to go to the ATM or some shit, and you walk around some niggas, don't be, hey guys, what's going on? You know, you got to actually act like you're from there. So it's just, that's just normal human behavior is code switching. It's not being fake. It's understanding your environment and meshing for your best benefit. And I'm totally with that, you know? Naturally, I guess people will always say like, I've heard that my whole life, you talk white and shit, but I could turn it on and be a nigga, you know what I mean? And that's a skill. Yeah. That is a skill. But
hey, if you speak proper English around white people, it's like, oh, you're whatever. Let's see what dumbass Lamont Hill's got to say. And Joe Budden. So they're so insufferable, bro.
Put words in his mouth. He was trashing Memphis though, as a city and was saying the NBA needs to move the team to Nashville. He complained about the hotel. He complained about the city. Now, to be fair, he's not the first person to do that. There's actually a reel going around the internet right now of every NBA player trashing the hotel. The Memphis hotels. So I don't want to make this like
bro, what the fuck is the problem for then, bro?
Yo, if everybody has said this shit is trash, how'd you dumbasses come to the conclusion that it's only a black thing?
It's ridiculous.
Yo, these guys just want to victimize themselves so bad, bro. Like, yo, these oh my God, man, these fried chicken connoisseurs, bro. These niggas got me fucking annoyed, man. I'm chilling out because you're on stream right now, but like, yo, like, oh my God, man.
No, but it's again, bro, it's the perpetuated victim mental, like this whole victim mental model actually degrades black people so much farther than we need to go. This is the problem. This really is the problem. And look, if somebody is outwardly racist, if somebody's blatantly racist, if somebody does something that, you know, you could validly reprimand, and fine, whatever. I won't attack this guy for doing that. But are we really going to talk about LeBron saying that Memphis is a bad city for what seems to be 11 minutes in this video? Like, is it that serious? Is it that important? You know what I mean? So that shows you as a people, we have nothing better to fucking do, which is why Memphis sucks and it's majority black. You know, if we actually had better things to talk about and better things to worry about, well, then maybe LeBron would enjoy playing in Memphis. But because we go, what the fuck? LeBron said Memphis bad, nigga, I'm tight. Now, nigga, that's why Memphis sucks, exactly because of that hubris. You niggas are worried about the wrong things. Yo, we talk, bro, how can I say this on YouTube? Put it this way. Every other group gets attacked, they don't fucking lose their minds like we do. That's the fucking problem. Yeah. That's the fucking problem. Like, and it's this victim mentality. Like, but we was slaves, nigga. Nigga, everybody was slaves, nigga. Come on, bro.
Dude, it's actually incredible. The victim bullshit. Yo, even Push Shiesty himself says Memphis sucks. What, you gonna call him racist too?
Yeah,
like he's talked about it. Like he talked about it being the slums and shit.
It was the fact. And look, I'll show you why they're fucking mad. And this is a part of the issue. It's because look who he's with. You know, look who he's with. You know, he's with these white niggas. He's got the polo on, tucked in with the hat. He's playing golf. You know, mind you, this guy's a billionaire. So what the fuck else is there for him to do?
But at 41 years old, you think I want to do that shit?
That was pretty funny. Anyways, let's see how he reacts.
It's just LeBron, but LeBron, as the most prominent voice in the NBA and one of the most prominent voices in sports, standing on a public platform and advocating for Memphis, which is such an important.
Does this shirt say "Don't let these degrees fool you"?
Yeah.
Yo, bro, this is the.
Bro's about to.
Yo. Yeah. I was about to crash out. Let me chill because you're here. Yo. On one side, they're like, yo, respect me as an equal, right? I'm intelligent. I'm not an idiot. Don't be racist towards me, whatever. Then on the other side, he has this dumbass shirt on saying, don't let these degrees fool you. Translation, I could become a nigga real quick. Okay? Yeah. You can take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga. And this is exactly why, right? The black fatigue is through the fucking roof, bro. The very stereotypes they get angry at people for pointing out are the same fucking stereotypes that they use, okay, in their everyday. And as a matter of fact, they have the hubris to wear a shirt saying, I reserve the right to become a fucking dumbass chimp at any time. Yo, these niggas are Saiyans. It's like these niggas like, yo, real talk. Remember when Vegeta would take the nigga and be able to get out? And then take the moon and throw that shit in the sky and then turn into a fucking dumbass primate? That's this nigga, bro. That's what that shirt basically means. Like, yo, nigga, yo, these fucking black people, bro. They want to sit there and be like, oh, I got these degrees and shit like that. You know what I mean? I'm smart, bro, blah, blah, blah. But don't tempt me. I got this moon in my back pocket. I can throw that shit in the sky and turn into a big-ass gorilla, nigga. Like, bro, this is why nobody respects you stupid fucks, man. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then niggas like me come in and say, hello, monkeys, like I'm Frieza. Like,
yeah, and it's self-imposed degradation. It's self-imposed degradation that is weaponized to kind of do this code switch like, oh, but I can always be black too. But why does having to be black, why does having to say don't let these degrees fool you also associate with like poor behavior that gets us ostracized from every other race that does not share the same color as us, or ethnicity for that matter? It's like literally self-imposed hard. Like this is self-inflicted at this point, you know? And the whole point, I said this the other day, as a black person, I will concede, and maybe people will say this is a little bit left or liberal, you have to disarm people, and that becomes frustrating. You know, even for me, I'm tall, I'm dark. It's still funny. I'm tall, I'm dark, and so, you know, I walk into a room or whatever scene I'm in, I have to kind of open my mouth, and I have to show people that I'm not who they may think I actually am, because I have to disarm them via my actions, via my behavior, via my speech, and that becomes frustrating, of course. But I feel as if, though, if everybody adopts that mentality to where you are happy to prove people wrong, that not all of us think the same, act the same, have this whole hubris where we have this self-imposed degradation that don't make me act like a nigga, because once I get that side out of me, you don't want to see no more, nigga. Like, if you disarm people from that line of thinking, and that happens over time, that snowballs, and then eventually there will be no association or people having bad behavior or crime synonymous with your skin color, you know? So it's a matter of pattern recognition. It's a matter of behavior. And if we correct that over time, long term, then you'll see a different turn of events, or you'll see different reactions. Now, of course, to those who are racist just because your skin is dark, well, there's no help for those people. Those are sick, twisted, low IQ people who hate you just because God created you a certain way. But there's a legitimate call out or a legitimate grievance from those who say, every time I come into one of you guys or run into one of you guys, there's always some sort of crime or loud music or loud voice or some sort of chaos that ensues. And so it's our job to kind of disarm that. And that doesn't mean you kiss their feet and beg for their approval. No, you mog them with your IQ. You mog them with your behavior. You mog them with the way you dress. You are better than them. I can't, and maybe some people watching this who know me are going to think this is a little bit conceited or bigoted. I know several white people that I'm better than in everything. And that's because I carry myself a certain way. So there's no way they can weaponize my skin color against me. Why can't we all do that? Right? So the whole don't let these degrees fool you thing is like playing into the hubris that's weaponized against you. And that's why you're always mad. It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Black city, black businesses, one of the homes of the civil rights struggle, where Martin Luther King was killed. Actually, the anniversary of that is today.
Yeah, it is.
Martin couldn't hoop. To advocate to move to Nashville, to me is whack.
You could have just said you better build a better hotel.
And that's my point. Y'all got think it's you said
I would have already started to build a hotel.
Right.
At that point.
Right. And to you
now, because LeBron doesn't like playing in Memphis, he has to build a fucking hotel in Memphis. Really, nigga? Like, how about you go build a hotel and we'll all respect you for it? You go take your hard-earned money, because I know everybody here has money who's at this table or at this couch. And how about y'all niggas go build a hotel in Memphis to counteract what LeBron is saying?
To use your resource and platform for that instead of saying, hey, let's invest in Memphis?
That might be the play. Unless I'm invested in Memphis.
That might be the play.
Now LeBron's Jesus. Now LeBron has to fix every black community. Like
that might be the.
And this is what it is: victimization. Well, you help us. Well, no, nigga, you help yourself.
Yep.
Play.
Didn't sound like it. I mean,
I'm invested in Nashville. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, the play might be invested in Nashville. I wouldn't shock me at all.
I might be invested in Nashville. Hey, let's get this team over here.
Which is up. You know what I mean? And
so, anyways, I have no interest in watching these guys cry about it for 5 minutes, but you can see the reaction across the board is negative just because LeBron said he doesn't like playing in a city that happens to be right? Majority black, but if the shoe fits, I suppose. Quick super chats. Bullish Crane says, R.I.P. Nick Fuentes, America First podcast. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Thanks for the super chat. Shady7230 says, nothing, $5. Shady said, Riyadh's bed broke, but we all know why. Brother saved some for the rest of us. Okay, it broke because I slammed on my bed after work, actually. Very funny, though. YB Lit, $5. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'll read mine, too, when you get it, if you're done with yours.
Yeah, go ahead.
Southside says, Fear, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I purchase anything off the store, will it come with a sticker? I'm really want some OSS merch. Yeah, it will come with a sticker. W. Dinesh, very eloquent, very respectful, some boomer takes, but overall very high IQ conversation. W. Free speech, nobody chimped out or got mad. By the way, did you see Tucker Carlson respond to PBD shitting on Catholics? We could react to that. You got that one queued up too, Riyadh? Can you have that one queued up?
Yeah.
Niggas fight tooth and nail to get out the hood just to brag about it. Exactly. My grandfather harped on our pronunciation. Been hearing I sound white since the first day. Exactly, bro. It's a dumbass it's a dumbass like shame tactic, bro. The owners of Clav's Club. Okay, I think I see who you're talking about here. Nigga did his research. Oh God, I didn't want to talk about that, but all right. Myron, can you ask your brother about his favorite DBZ movement, Saga, and thought on DBS? That's fine. We will do that. Jarheaded Myron is on Puerto Rican next these past weeks. Bro, they get so mad. That song Romantic Homicide was released way before her death. Okay, fair. Would seriously get 20 men touch him for this tip you get for free? Okay. How can Trump justify allowing Chin Ada to run the way it is above your heads? Okay, yo, Myron, can love your bro, teaching me a lot as of growing with no father figure. We got you, bro. Red Pill Clippers. Dinesh basically saying you shilling for Iran and you hate Brazil was a bad faith, in my opinion. Like, bro, why the ad homs? It's okay. Would suck 20 Ds to get his tip. What the fuck, nigga? You're weirdo. Okay, I'll be flexing. This was a banger stream. Scott Horton is goated. You got it, bro. Cool. I think we're caught up there. Okay.
I had a couple come in as you were reading.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jamie Fabo says, did you see one of Australia's only refineries had an equipment failure and was in flames, and considering PLC's control a lot of equipment? Yeah, that is really sus. Thank you for the super chat, Jamie. Thodic says, W Riyadh, $50. Hey, shout out to you, bro. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Down the marker for you. Okay. Yeah, did you want to react to Tucker, or do you want to just go straight into the Blockade and then we'll do Tucker after?
Chat, what do you guys want? You guys want Tucker or Blockade? And I got the Ben Shapiro shit too, with him talking shit about us and Sneako too. What do you guys want, Blockade or Tucker? I'm seeing lots of Tuckers. What's your chat saying?
Chat, spam whatever you're looking for. If you want us to react to Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, or just give you a brief as to what's been happening the last 72 hours with the Strait of Hormuz. What's yours saying, Tucker? Mine is asking for the Blockade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we could. Which one do you think is going to be faster?
Definitely the Blockade, probably. We can.
You want to do Blockade? Tucker?
Yeah, we can go over what's been happening, because I think a lot of people are confused. Okay, now I'm getting a mix, but it seems like Blockade is.
Let's do Blockade because it's quick.
Yeah. So
what's this with the Blockade? I know you've been on top of it. I'll just let you monologue what's going on with the Blockade. What the hell's going on? Because I haven't had you on for a minute. So yeah, what the hell's going on? And fill us in, and I'll let you. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah. So real quick, obviously, if you haven't been paying attention, I'd say since Monday we've had some micro developments. Really nothing huge. The biggest thing is, of course, if you missed it, last week Donald Trump had tweeted on Truth Social, I believe around Thursday or Friday, that we are going to implement a new strategy to block the Strait of Hormuz. I'm not sure really what the idea was initially when we were going over it on stream. We weren't really sure as to what he had in store, but this was to go into effect on Monday at 10 a.m. So now we're seeing this happen. However, the United States has not actually blocked the Strait of Hormuz entirely, and we've sent out the Navy in our full force to actually effectuate this plan. We have now begun to block Iranian ports across the entire coast of Iran, spanning from the Gulf of Oman into the Persian Gulf, and then, of course, what entails the Strait of Hormuz. And we've blocked these ports from exporting ships and then importing ships. So anybody coming in and then any ships trying to leave. And the strategy seems to be that we're trying to choke Iranian economy or their economy as a whole, prevent them from receiving goods, make them feel some pressure, and then hopefully that brings them closer to the talking table or diplomatic agreement to give up their nuclear program, give up the missiles, something of that sort. However, what we're seeing on the other side, and remember, Donald Trump had tweeted last week, or really made a Truth Social post, that we are going to block the Strait, we're going to block the blockade, and no one really knew what the plan was, but now we're able to see the United States is just really making Iran's government feel economic pressure by blocking their ability to receive anything that's coming in or anything that's leaving for them to make money. But Iran is still taxing or tolling ships that are crossing through the Strait of Hormuz. I was just speaking to Suleiman on X Space, and it's still a very low amount of ships that are passing through. Yesterday was somewhere around 20, today somewhere around 9, and so the numbers are still not back up to normal. However, they have increased from what was entirely a complete blockade where no ships were passing through. So currently what we're seeing is the United States is blocking Iranian ports from oil export, goods export, everything else in between, and at the same time, Iran is making money from these ships that are coming through the Strait of Hormuz. Even though it's in a small number, they're able to tax these countries and charge them. And of course, this back ends on the United States in regards to the fact that we started this conflict and now countries are paying for the price by having to receive their oil, by the way, that they desperately need. A lot of these countries in Asia and Europe depend solely on the UAE countries, or sorry, the Gulf countries, UAE being one of the big ones, and then Qatar and Kuwait for oil, but they cannot export that through the Strait of Hormuz because of the blockade. Now some ships have gotten through, but Iran is making a ton of money. So they've kind of filled in the gap that was felt by us closing their ports for goods and economic benefit by making money on the Strait of Hormuz. So we haven't really addressed the problem directly on its face yet. However, we're approaching a ceasefire end. Really, the agreement ends on the 22nd. So we have another 6 days before this whole ceasefire thing that was brokered between J.D. Vance and the entire Iranian delegation, with the Middle Eastern envoy being included as well. That's all done on Wednesday next week. And so what we're going to see after is up in the air. Of course, it's speculative. We may see a new ceasefire that extends longer. Hopefully that's the case as Trump and this administration tries to buy time to strategize as to what they want to do next. Or we may see a second stage of the war, maybe a second air assault, potentially even boots on ground. We just added 10,000 more new troops to the region in the process of gearing up our Navy to block these Iranian ports. But in regards to the Strait of Hormuz, we still don't have control. And as you can see, Donald Trump has been telling the press that we've reached an agreement with Iran. They're actually conceding on their nuclear program. We're getting somewhere in the negotiations and the peace talks. But again, the IRGC has came out and said, we haven't really come to the table about anything, and we have not changed any of our demands. Our demands from the original Islamabad talks as well as prior have always remained the same. They'll continue to remain the same. We will maintain control of the Strait of Hormuz, and we will not give up anything until the United States either gives us reparations or pulls out of the Strait of Hormuz and leaves us alone militarily. So the three sticking points really seem to be Iran's nuclear program. Okay, if you don't remember, J.D. Vance had made a maximalist demand for some 20-year deal in regards to their nuclear program. Of course, they said no, and so that was kind of the camel that broke the straw that broke the camel's back in regards to the negotiations in Pakistan. And the second point of contention that's kind of halting a true long-term peace deal is, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. The United States now wants control of the Strait of Hormuz, or at least wants to remove Iranian control or Iranian economic benefit from the Strait. And then the third point of contention, besides the missiles program, which is also huge, is Iran demanding some sort of economic sanction relief or reparations for the war that has spanned 50 days and destroyed a lot of their critical infrastructure, as well as the fact that they've suffered in every other aspect from this war. And so some sort of reparation or some sort of apology in regards to money is something that they've been flirting with in these peace talks as well. So a lot of issues that the United States and Iran don't seem to have any eye-level relation on. And that's what kind of concerns me for the second round of peace talks that Donald Trump and Pakistan have been hinting are around the corner. It's just probably going to be the same thing again, unless one side kind of really pulls their hand off the table and allows the other side to gain a little bit of ground, right? There has to be some sort of concession. It's really not going to come from the United States, though, not with this administration. So me and Suleiman briefly spoke about that. He gave me some updates, but nothing really major. You know, we started this blockade, but Chinese ships have still passed through, even though we said we would stop them. Iranian vessels have still passed through, even though we said we're going to close off the oil ports and the ports in Iran that receive all of the goods from these ships. A few have still allegedly made it through. And so even our plan to completely seize and cut off the ports, however, on its face, it sounds brilliant, has not worked in its entirety as well. We've turned around away like maybe 12 or 13 ships, I think. That's what I'm reading. But overall, there's still some that are seeping through, and Iran is making a ton of money on the Strait. So we're just collecting our marbles, and we'll see what happens on the 22nd. That's the real day to pay attention, because that's when this is all over.
Mike Dixie, thank you for the 10 gifted, and Hello Monkeys. These names are crazy. Thank you for the 5 gifted. So, no, you're 100% right, man, and I appreciate you kind of bringing everybody up to speed. Guys, the only reason why Trump felt safe enough to do this blockade right now is because we're in the middle of a ceasefire. Best believe that if we weren't in the middle of a ceasefire, they'd be blowing up these destroyers and or attacking our allies in the region. So that's the only reason why Trump feels safe to do this stupid-ass blockade, but he's not going to be able to maintain it forever. And they've already kind of had to bend the knee a few times. So a blockade, for those of you that don't know, guys, is considered an act of war. It's essentially an act of war because you're cutting off a country's ability to earn revenue, which obviously cuts off its livelihood. So it's economic warfare. So I'm not surprised that Trump is doing it now and why he selected this 2 week to do this straight, because he knows that he's safe. But once that ceasefire is done, he won't be able to do that. That's another reason too why I think he's trying to extend this ceasefire. Mike Dixie with another 10 gifted. Thank you, bro. I think that's another reason why he's trying to get this this ceasefire extended, so that number one, he could get his ground troops, he could get troops into the region. Number two, buy some more time and try to cut off Iran for making as much money as possible, even though he's not completely cutting it off, but he is limiting it to a degree. And then number three, he's able to operate with some level of protection since they're in the middle of a ceasefire right now. Right, he's getting right up to the edge with doing this blockade and letting some ships through, right, and let them make some money versus like completely cutting off their ability to make money and where it would warrant a direct attack back on them or us. Yeah. And it's just like reckless that he's doing it, dude. It's completely foolish. Mike Dixie, once again, thank you for the another 10 gifted, bro. You're the man. Thank you for the 20 gifted and the 5. Shout out to you, man. Then okay, here we go. Jugga says, as a ninja from Memphis, the issue is that the Grizz is the only thing keeping the city together. If they left, this amazing city is dead. Come visit, brothers. Hey, nigga, we're worse than LeBron. We ain't going there. We good, man. We ain't going to no Memphis, bro.
The Grizzlies definitely are like the last leg of support, man. Hopefully they don't move the team to Nashville, because that's all y'all got left. But yeah, you're completely right. He's kind of capitalizing on the fact that there's guaranteed ceasefire. But I mean, it's really on its face not stable, right? It takes one sort of threat, one sort of ship invasion, which has not happened yet, for this all to come crumbling down. And really, Iran has the ability, I'm not saying it would be right, I actually would disagree if they did this, but they have the ability to say, hey, the United States and Israel started this war as one joint entity, and Israel has violated the ceasefire like 10 times since its inception. We're going to attack your ships. And so it's been good to see that they haven't done that. At least we're able to get away with some sort of strategy. But again, this is only going to last until Wednesday, and it's posing no real harm to the Iranian government, because they're already sanctioned hell anyways. What's a couple ports going to really do? They've got everything at home. They've got their missiles. They've got their drones. They build that all at home, and those are the things that are keeping them alive in the war right now, as well as the same things that are allowing them to control the Strait. Dinesh D'Souza said something very foolish, and it showed me he doesn't really understand the conflict or the topic as a whole. He said, well, we destroyed Iran's navy, and so they don't have any ships to threaten the Strait of Hormuz. Dinesh, the threat on the Strait of Hormuz comes from the drone and missiles program. It had nothing to do with the navy. It never did. Iran never leveraged their naval ships to threaten the oil vessels. They leveraged the fact that these very cheap drones that they make underground in mass bulk, the stockpile that they have, can at any time go into the Strait of Hormuz and threaten these oil vessels, which is why these ships will not be insured.
They try to get around it, like when you know how they have those little attack boats that they can use to board. But that's irrelevant, bro. That's like just added, theater shit. The real danger is the drones, dude. They blew up a Thai ship, and then niggas learned right then and there, we're not going through. They blew up a Thai ship like early on in the conflict, if you remember.
Yes, and that's the whole. It's the whole thing that scares them, is the fact that even outside of their little naval presence, whatever you want to call it, the real issue is that these drones can fly right over. And by the way, it was a drone that hit our amphibious assault vessel, and then we had to lie and say it was a laundry fire. So these drones are capable. They're not just any other drone. They're the Shahed drones, and they're very capable of hitting even complicated military infrastructure that has a defense system in place to repel attacks. So these oil vessels are sitting ducks if they cross the strait, while Iran is hurling these threats over at them. And this is the hand that they've been forced to play since the United States is so much stronger than them. That's the whole idea of this attritional war, a war of, asymmetry, and that's what we're seeing real time. So I don't know what my prediction is for next week once the ceasefire is allegedly over. Hopefully Trump is able to extend it. I think it's in his best interest to really extend it. I don't know if the United States is really interested in pursuing this war again for another 40 or 50 days.
Didn't he just do a Truth Social post earlier today? Like they're doing another 10 extension?
Yeah, allegedly, but I don't know. I don't know if Iran has actually agreed to that. That's the problem. Is for what I'm seeing facing Pakistan and Iran.
I know Lebanon was the main sticking point. Like they said, we're not going in unless. Let me see here. I'm on his Truth Social right now.
Yeah, let's see what he said on Truth Social if you have it.
Yeah, I'm pulling. Let me share a screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at here. Give me one sec.
He also attacked Tucker, Megyn Kelly, and Candace again, and Alex Jones.
Oh, again?
Yeah, he attacked, or Joe Kent, sorry. He did another attack, yeah.
All right, we need you to read that shit in the Trump voice, bro. What the? Okay, not Truth or Lies. Okay, Donald Trump. Let's see. Okay, 1 hour. May have been a historic day for Lebanon. Good things are happening. Okay, this is an hour ago. I hope Hezbollah acts nicely and well during this important period of time. It will be a great moment for them if they do. No more killing. Let's finally have peace. Complains about a judge. How to control more people that hate him. White House has a ballroom. Trump hating judge. Yo, this nigga, bro, he hates these judges, bro.
Yeah.
Who's dumber? Oh, okay.
I'm looking at it right now, which is why I'm smiling. I have it on my screen. I can just read it from yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess he attacked them. So
Before you read it, Before you read it. Yo, I'm getting off Rumble, man. Yo, guys, come on over to Kick for me, man. I'm getting off of Rumble real quick. I'm getting off Rumble. Come on over to Kick, niggas. Okay? I am getting off Rumble. I want to get myself to 3,000 live viewers. I want to get to a point, guys, where we got 3,000 live viewers on Kick at all times. We might not get there because a lot of you niggas I know aren't going to convert. But I'm going to end the Rumble stream now, guys. So all my Rumble people, okay, come on over to Kick. I know some of y'all are going to cry, bro, what the fuck? Hey, man, I told y'all already. Kick is the main platform for us, man. Okay, for YouTube, it's Rumble. For Myron Gaines X, it is Kick. So come on over, guys. Dropping a link here for you guys. Come on over. It's pinned. I'm going to end the Rumble stream here in a second. Okay, if a good portion, even if a quarter of you guys come over, that'll be great. Oh, shit, here we go. So do me that solid, guys. Come on over. Riyadh, whenever you're ready, let me know.
Yeah, I can read it right now.
Can you see? You know what? Let me make it.
I have it on my extra screen. Don't worry about it. I have it on my. Okay. I have it myself. Yeah. So this was today, actually, or no, this was yesterday. Sorry, at 5 o'clock. So you can see Trump's got a lot on his plate. He's got time to tweet this out. He didn't attack Alex Jones. My bad. So it seems he was attacking Tucker Carlson and Joe Kent, and the way this starts is really comical. Like I said, man, I condemn Trump's actions, and he's lost his mind, but he's still funny as fuck. You can't lie.
Yeah,
so
no, hilarious.
He says on Truth Social yesterday, "Who's dumber, Tucker Carlson?"
Rumble right now, guys. Rumble's going down, guys. Come on over. Somebody said I got Rumble stock, nigga. And kick.com/Myron Gaines X, bro. It's simple. I pinned it, and you literally there's no ads, dude. So come on over. Getting off Rumble right now. Come on over to Kick. Kick.com/Myron Gaines X, guys. Come on, and we're gonna do this breakdown, some more stuff for the war. Tucker, Ben Shapiro. We're gonna cover all that stuff. Peace out, guys. On Rumble. Kick.com. Let's go. Sorry, bro. Go ahead.
No, you're good. He says, "Who's dumber, Tucker Carlson or Joe Kent?" It's very interesting. I met Joe Kent at Dover Air Force Base along with numerous others who had lost their loved ones in war. I said hello to all of the families. Kent horribly lost his wife. Her casket was being brought to Dover, along with the rest, although he married again quite quickly, in my opinion. I haven't read this before. This is funny. If you guys don't know, Joe Kent's wife, and this part isn't funny, his wife was killed in a suicide bombing in Syria back in, what was it, 2016? Am I right there? It was
yeah, fighting ISIS.
Over 10 years ago, yeah, from some ISIS suicide bombing. So very unfortunate circumstances for Joe Kent. And of course, Trump is not sensitive to that whatsoever. And so he says, married quite quickly, in my opinion. In any event, a number of years later, I noticed the same person was running for Congress in Washington State and lost. I then noticed a couple of years later, he was running again and lost. While I didn't know him other than our brief Dover encounter, but feeling sorry for him after 2 election losses, I told my people, hire him for the White House, give him a job, make him feel good. He lost his wife in 2 elections. They did so. And while I rarely saw him, I certainly didn't expect disloyalty, but that's what I got. He was really a sleazebag. And some would say, on top of it all, a leaker. I don't know whether or not the guy that was true, but next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Kent is a loser, just like Tucker, Candace, Megan, and the rest of them are losers. Says you're born that way, low IQ, and there's not a damn thing they're going to be able to do about it, President Donald J. Trump. The low IQ thing is really funny. So if you guys don't know, Joe Kent was the chief of counterterrorism under the National Director for Intelligence, that being Tulsi Gabbard. So he worked for Trump inside of the cabinet, and he was given this position, I would imagine actually graciously by Trump, because this guy did try to run for Congress twice and lost, both times being pretty narrow actually. And so, of course, Trump felt bad for the guy. This guy won a political power. He was formerly a Green Beret in the Middle East, special military officer, has a lot of experience working for the CIA, so on and so forth. This guy probably knows a lot of things that we don't know, or we would like to think we have a better idea of than we really do. So he knows a lot of classified intel and shit, and he stepped down from his position of counterterrorism in the beginning of the war, expressing condemnation for Trump's irresponsible actions in starting this war, saying that we were doing the bidding of Israel. My brother's going to pull up the letter right now, I assume. And so Joe Kent, right off the bat, went against Trump when he started this war, and of course, that really pissed Donald Trump off more than anything, and of course, that's why he's attacking him, leveraging his dead wife against him and everything else in between.
100 million, bro.
And
this million views.
When this happened, it was pretty viral because there was some discontent and people were expressing that they weren't so on board with the war, but it was a little bit more vague. There was a shadow effect to it. Joe Kent was really one of the first prominent figures to completely disavow Trump in this war. And so that is why it was huge, because he kind of led the revolution of everybody else who has now hopped off the MAGA train. He was first, you know. Tucker was kind of there as well, but no one was as explicit in their condemnation about how upset they were about this conflict until this happened. Then people started to follow. Slowly but surely, the dominoes started to fall. And so this is why Trump really hates this guy. You can imagine he got him a job inside of the White House under intelligence, you know, national chief of counterterrorism, whatever. And so this guy has intimate knowledge of Iran and everything like that. And like I said, everybody within the intelligence community knows this war is a bad idea. And Joe Kent, of course, vindicated us there. Do you want to read the letter? I don't know if you guys have seen this, but
you can read it for them if you want.
Yeah, so this was his letter, just to kind of paint the full picture, because I'm sure a lot of you don't know. Yeah, I can see it. So he said, after much reflection, I have decided to resign from my position of director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war with Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Of course, this message is to Trump, which you enacted in your first term until June of 2025. This is when we bombed Iran's nuclear facilities, Isfahan, and Fordow, and what's the other one? Why am I blanking right now? Natanz. And he continues on, you understood that wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and the prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Qasem Soleimani was the head of the Axis of Resistance, Iran's proxy network across the Middle East, really focused in southern Lebanon, Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and then the Houthis in Yemen. He continues on to say, early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie, and this is the same tactic Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous war that cost us, our nation, the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times, and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife, Shannon, in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we are doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further forward decline, and chaos. You hold the cards. It was an honor to serve in your administration and to serve our great nation, Joe Kent. So, of course, you can imagine for obvious reasons why that letter infuriated Trump. And look, he kind of says something that everybody had an idea about, really everybody in the community who does political commentary. Benjamin Netanyahu went to Washington and Mar-a-Lago a total of 7 times. And so Joe Kent is saying, you listen to Netanyahu. That's why you started this war. We know what he was telling you. We know what Mossad was telling you. We know what Israeli intelligence was telling you. They said this war would be easy. And me and the rest of the IC told you, and obviously he wasn't talking directly to Trump, but this was his standpoint as well, this war would not be easy. And he knows that this was echoed across the entire administration, at least from Tulsi Gabbard and others, yet Trump still went to war with Iran. So when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, not only is this guy exposing that Trump made a mistake, but more importantly, he's highlighting the fact that Trump is controlled by Israel. And of course, that's highly offensive for Donald Trump because he wants to seem like this independent go-getter who makes decisions on his own behalf. But I mean, it's become increasingly obvious now that's not the
And
case.
Joe's been nice about it too. He's like
Very
purposely
gracious.
trying not to bash Trump and shit like that. He gives him credit for Soleimani, whatever, which I would say Soleimani actually made things worse, but that's a whole other conversation.
And he acknowledges that in the letter. You know, he says you killed Qasem Soleimani. We knew why, you know, so.
No, he praises him for it actually.
Oh, okay. Then
Praises him for killing Soleimani. He said like basically, hey, you were able to use force, limited force to achieve an objective, like, and this isn't the way.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Tucker or Ben?
This is funny. Let's do Ben.
You want to do Ben first?
Yeah. So I guess he tags Sneako and then the Manosphere that was highlighted in the documentary on Netflix. That's his whole thing here.
Well, no, this is something else. I don't know what. I haven't seen this video. I saw it came out 2 days ago.
All right, let's.
But
see.
we could do Tucker if you want, since we already covered Tucker a little bit. Fuck, let's do Tucker, then we'll do Ben.
Entirely up to you. Let's play this. We got it up now. We got it up now. Let's play it.
America itself is corrupt and evil. America has sold out its heritage for a pittance of goods. That America can only regain its heritage by basically destroying itself. We got to talk about the fact that there are these influencers who are talking largely to young men, but they are clearly also mirroring perspectives that are anti-American, really mirroring perspectives that are anti, and being used by foreign figures in order to promote radical.
Isn't that hilarious when he's the one being used by a foreign figure? Well, he's a foreign figure himself.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Ben just can't. I don't know. How much longer is he going to hide behind the mask? Isn't he dropping subs and views like every single day? It's astounding to see how long he can keep this up and how many people actually enjoy this. But anyways, let's keep going.
Apparently 1,000 people went out to UPenn to see him yesterday.
One of these people is a guy named Sneako. Okay, so Sneako is a 27-year-old streamer. He says that Hitler has aura and that women should be barred from voting and that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, was a hero and that the Jews run society. His actual real name is Nicholas Ken Tabalanthese. Apparently he converted to Islam shortly ago. Here he was on the streets of New York just a couple of nights ago, chanting in favor of genociding the Jews.
Bro, I knew they were going to use this clip, bro. Yo, I saw this shit on Twitter. I was like, yep, niggas are saving this. Sending it to the ADL.
I'll say this.
I right away, bro.
I
saw
surprised.
This, right? Remember, I was like, yo.
Dude, I'm surprised the condemnation was not as strong as it was. Honestly, they didn't jump on it the way. I thought this was going to be a Club of Cost too. Like, I thought this was going to reach that level because... Yeah, obviously because of what he's saying. And that's not explicitly what he's saying, but
it's clear he's fucking around. He's trolling, like, but they're obviously been taking it a big deal. Do you want to give them the lore on this phrase?
Yeah, play it. What's he saying? He's saying Khaybar, right?
He's saying Khaybar, yeah, hood, yeah.
Yeah. So he's just talking about a historical Islamic event and where, you know, so here's the full context. The Islamic prophet lived in Mecca and then Medina, but there was also this other city or real tribe called Khaybar, right? Comprised of Arab Jews. And so it was a battle that was known, I think in 628, if I'm not mistaken, between the Muslims and the Jews. That's the real gist of it, as well as the fact that Muslims and Jews did not get along in the province of Medina, which was the prophet's city when he was exiled from Mecca. And so there's always been like this back and forth blood in pre-Islamic or, you know, post-Islamic history where after the inception of the Islamic prophet, the Jews were trying to exile him from the city that he exiled to, that being Medina, as well as undermine him they created several contracts with the prophet, and then they actually tried to kill him on several instances, tried to assassinate him. They tried to poison him with a leg of lamb that they gifted to him. They killed his companion by poisoning him. They did magic on him.
A Jewish woman did it, by the way.
Yeah.
A Jewish woman poisoned him.
Yeah. And so it was really a battle of removing their influence from the city because they kept trying to undermine the prophet even though they had signed a peace treaty with him. And so they continuously committed treason. So that's the real kind of like general lore as to why the early Muslims fought with the Arab Jews in Medina. And interestingly enough, the Jews actually recognized him as a quote-unquote prophet. You can find this in academic Islamic literature that is vetted rigorously through a chain of narration where there are several Jews that actually admitted, wait, this guy fulfills prophecy, so we're going to attack him even more now because he's not a Jew, he's an Arab. And so there was this whole thing between them. And so what he's screaming...
There's Mizrahi Jews, just so you guys probably wondering, like, what are you talking about? There are Arab Jews, guys. They're called Mizrahis. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's really the long and short of it. But it was a famous battle, and so like, you know, that's like something that Muslims Muslims have used against kind of you know, Jewish people when
Israel.
they're fighting. They say Khaybar.
It's like they'll say it when they refer to like Israel.
And there's several instances in Islamic history where the Muslims and Jews clashed heads. You have that. You have Bani Qurayza, which is another tribe that the Muslims fought and eventually executed because of their treason. So there's so many different things, but obviously the tension has a long history. And that's actually, just to say this really quickly before we get back into the video, something important to note is people always say that, you know, the Jewish people and the Christian people really are the ones having the tension and the strife. And that's because, you know, Catholics and white Christians and European Christians expunged them or expelled them from their countries in Europe and everything like that. And even though there's truth to that, and that's kind of the main grievance, there is also tension from Jews and Muslims ever since Islam was created. And that was when they tried to kill the prophet like 4 or 5 times. And so that's where that comes from as well. So it exists in early Islamic history too. People always think that because the Ottomans offered the Jews safe conduct in their lands and try to save them from their persecution, that the history has always been positive, but it actually started out very rocky, then it smoothed out, now it's rocky again. So that's kind of like the historical relation between Muslims and the Jewish people as a whole.
Yeah, now the ADL and people like Ben Shapiro, whenever people talk about this conflict, they're like, oh my God, it's a call to, what's the word I want to use here?
Violence. It's a call to violence.
Yeah,
they say this is an anti-Semitic call to violence. It's something that's used by these proxy networks that belong to Iran, right? And it's something that's used famously in the Middle East. You know, a lot of people say it as like maybe even a running joke, but really like, you know, this anti-Israel, anti-Jewish war chant or chant that's provocative, that's known to get them very mad, you know? So it's one of those buzzwords that you got to steer clear of saying.
Yeah, labels it as like a T phrase. My brother's on YouTube, so I'll keep it simple. But like, yeah, I knew right away, bro. I saw the clip. I could tell because I know Sneako personally. I could tell he's joking around and fucking around and trolling.
Yeah.
But I knew they were gonna take that clip and like try to run with something else. I fucking knew it, bro. And just as expected, all the idiots on Twitter, IL, idiot, that retard, this guy, Ben Shapiro, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, they're gonna run with this shit and go crazy, even though he's just fucking around.
Hayman, ya Hood! Takbir! Jaish Muhammad Sabayun! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
So why am I bringing this up? Because there are a lot of young people who watch this person and treat this
clearly he's fucking around, but obviously he's going to take it seriously, right? So
person with seriousness. And he recently did a podcast with 2 figures who are foreign figures who are openly advocating for the demise of American power internationally. That'd be Alexander Dugin, who is a propagandist on behalf of Vladimir Putin, and a professor named Zhang Jiquin. You'll remember him from the Tucker Carlson show where he claimed that
Did you watch this interview? I didn't watch this interview.
I didn't see it.
Sneak on this guy? Okay.
The United States should basically give up
Sneako
power
to that's what he's
China.
referring to.
And
Professor Zhang is who he's talking about? Oh, I didn't even recognize it because of the way he said
and
it.
Dugin. And Dugin, the Russian guy.
Oh, no, I only caught a glimpse of it. I was not able to watch all of it. I'm sure he was not happy about that, though. I'm sure.
Also, he claims, of course,
Nightmare
that the
lineup
Illuminati
for him.
run the world.
Yep.
And all the rest of this sort of junk. Well, Alexander Dugin and this Chinese professor, Zhang, they've been making this case, again, throughout sort of right-wing manosphere podcastistan, And it does demonstrate the extent to which foreign influences really have grabbed a foothold. It's amazing. Many of the people claiming foreign influence on President Trump are themselves acting as
This guy talking about foreign influence is fucking joke, bro.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
nuts.
Bro,
It's nuts.
Netanyahu is your right-hand man, bro. You're friends with Netanyahu. What are you talking about?
agents of foreign influence for propagandists of actual foreign regimes. It's pretty incredible, actually. Here, for example, was Alexander Dugin with.
The lack of awareness is absolutely fucking insane. It's like, bro, you are the biggest Israeli propagandist. I would argue, yeah, Ben is the biggest Israel propagandist in America, potentially. He's in the top 3.
He's the first.
You think anyone? He's number 1, right?
First. Yeah, he's the first. He's more popular. I think
bigger.
Ben Shapiro is a bigger household name than somebody like maybe Mark Levin, or I don't know.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Bill, what's the other guy's name that has a late night talk show?
Oh, Bill Maher.
Like I think those guys are negligible compared to Ben, because remember, just a couple years ago, before the whole October 7th situation happened that really changed the world, Ben Shapiro was kind of revered on the right, even from a lot of Christians, a lot of people who were not aware of the Middle Eastern conflict. People loved him. You know, he was known as this vicious debater that destroyed the left-wing students and was really good at speaking and always had base takes. You know, facts don't care about your feelings, his whole rhetoric. And then, of course, October 7th happened, and we realized this nigga was a double agent. So things changed very quickly for him.
He was smart. What he did was, when he blew up, he focused on domestic issues. When he did the college debates and shit like that, he rarely, if ever, talked about Middle Eastern foreign policy. Like, almost never. Because there was no need. Because there was no pushback on the Israel lobby. Nobody knew. But now that everyone like came out and started being critical of Israel, he had to come out and defend Israel, and that's when he got exposed.
Yeah.
That's what fucked him up. This guy never used to talk foreign policy and geopolitical affairs.
He had to show face. He had to show face. October 7th was very pivotal for a lot of content creators and political commentators, man, because it showed where your allegiance really lied and how honest you were willing to be, even if it meant a financial hit. So, you know, it exposed Ben like none else. And if you were privy to the situation,
warrior, bro. Guys like him, Steven Crowder, etc. Like, these guys are culture warriors. That's what they. That's what they do. Like, these guys are not strong political these guys are not strong geopolitical commentators. They're strong culture warriors. American domestic policy, American politics. When it comes to like the Middle East and foreign policy, like both of them are kind of, you know, it's not their thing. Like,
no, they're lazy. They're good at telling people what they want to hear in regards to this war, right? Steven Crowder, just because of the culture, and then Ben Shapiro, obviously, because he's loyal to Israel.
He's
They both have their different motivations, but certainly they come from the same cloth when it comes to that. So that's very true. And by the way, this guy has been weaponizing Islamic terrorism from like 2020, 2021. Like, he's been making videos on it. He's been talking about how Islamic terrorism is a big issue, how it affects the world. And so people have been eating it up for years. You know, he's been a big voice on that as well, Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I tell you guys all the time, like, you really don't want to watch most right-wingers because you guys got to understand, covering domestic policy and culture war issues is one thing, but covering geopolitics is a whole other angle. And a lot of times it's not even really a right-wing or left-wing issue when it comes to geopolitical affairs. So anyway, but yeah, let's.
The aforementioned.
It doesn't have the same. I guess, binding to to like culture warrior stuff, right? Like for example, someone like a Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder will dunk on college kids all day when it comes to transgenderism and how many genders are there, right? Matt Walsh, etc. But can they go ahead and give you guys the real deal? And, you know, like I did with like Dinesh Souza, like what you guys just watched is like when you guys watch me debate Dinesh Souza on Iran, that is literally an example of the lack of geopolitical awareness from MAGA. What you guys saw, like the way I was able to like lap him and that big gap in between knowledge, like that is literally what debating what MAGA is when it comes to geopolitics and foreign policy. Like, they're just not versed on this topic. You know what I mean? They're just not, unfortunately, because it's very complex. It's very time consuming. You have to spend a lot of hours studying it, understanding it. You got to stay up on the news, right? The only reason I was able to dismantle a lot of his arguments is because I've been studying this for the past, you know, me and my brother have been on it for the past couple of months. But most MAGA commentators or right-wing commentators like Ben Shapiro, you know, Matt Walsh, Crowder, whatever, dude, they're not studying this shit because it requires so much time. And and honestly, I could understand, like, for them why, like, you know, foreign affairs isn't really like a conservative issue, to be honest. It's really not.
It's its own segment.
It's its own thing, bro. Yeah.
The kind of right-wing geopolitical commentary, it's its own segment that these guys' audiences would not like, right? Or they would not be privy to whatsoever, especially Steven Crowder. If Steven Crowder were to take an anti-war position tomorrow, I think a lot of his audience would be mad. I think his viewership would be like, what the fuck? Because that's the whole idea, is they're culture warriors, you know? So a lot of these people just watch to really hear what they want to hear rather than hearing what they need to hear. And that's kind of where me and you have been dealt a great blow. Every single time we talk about the conflict, people say, you're pro-IRGC, you're pro-Iran, and it's like, no, we're actually pro-American. If you had an IQ, you'd be able to discern that and actually understand there's a greater issue here, and that's Israel undermining undermining U.S. foreign policy.
Like, and you know, the crazy thing is like, when me and my brother talk, right? If you guys listen to me and my brother talk, you're going to hear us talk more about like the United States and everything else like this. But the problem is that when we talk, for you guys to understand the concepts, we have to go back and debunk the propaganda that you guys were all indoctrinated to, right? Like a lot of the times when me and my brother explain this stuff to you guys or whatever, we have to rewrite bullshit that you guys have already heard. So it comes off and it sounds like we are pro-Iran. We're not, bro. We're just pro-truth. It just so happens that you guys get a lot of lies on Iran. So we have to fucking come in and debunk the bullshit. Then we can have actual real geopolitical discourse and like actually talk about shit. But I have to debunk the lies. I'll give you guys a perfect example right now. A lot of people believe the 40,000 protesters lied, right? Like, so before me and my brother can actually have a conversation with you guys about regime change and how the United States is trying to do regime change, etc., we have to debunk the 40,000 protesters that were killed. We have to talk to you guys about the Starlinks that they smuggled in. We have to talk to you guys about how Trump moved in a bunch of guns and gave it to protesters. We have to tell you guys how the Mossad trained a lot of these agitators. We have to talk to you guys about how Scott Bessent purposely crashed the Real in early 2026 and how Mike Pompeo said the Mossad walks amongst you. We have to educate you guys on this stuff. Then we can operate on a flat ground and a basis to go from there, because we can't even get into the discourse and the analysis unless you guys know the foundation. And unfortunately, Fox News, American media, etc., does not set you guys up to know the foundation. So we have to create the foundation for you guys. Then we go ahead and have a discussion on the actual topic.
Yeah.
Because if I was just talking to you guys about, well, this war is retarded because XYZ, you might look at me like, well, dude, why are you saying that? They killed 40,000 of their own people. Oh my God. Okay. Now I got to go backwards. I got to explain to you guys about the 40,000 thing being a lie. Now we can have a real conversation. And if you guys remember Riyadh, when we reacted to PBD and even Vinny bought into that lie about the 40,000 dead. And we had to spend like 10, 15 minutes just showing all the fucking receipts of Israeli media saying like, oh yeah, this looks like it's Mossad. Fucking Mike Pompeo putting on Twitter that, you know, Mossad walks amongst you. I had to show you guys the testimony from the Oversight Committee where one of the people literally admitted, yeah, it was an operation where we smuggled in a bunch of Starlinks for the Iranian people. I wonder for who? Funded by the CIA. So I had to show you guys all that shit. Now we can have a real discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the real important
thing...
Thank
you, for the vibe. Daily Vibes 5 gifted. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Riyadh.
No, it's a great point you make. And something else that's happening as well, and of course people have been realizing, this has now become like not even an issue of left and right. This has just become an issue of common sense and having awareness on global affairs and foreign policy. Why do I say that? Canary Mission earlier today posted a video of Nick Fuentes and Anna Kasparian saying the same exact things without actually talking to one another. And they did this whole like compilation where they were repeating each other's talking points or echoing the same sentiment, you know, against the war or against Israel, whatever it was. And they're not realizing like that's actually the issue. That's actually what's destroying them, is the fact that people who are super far right and people who are super far left and people who are libertarian towards the right and people who are dead in the middle and people who are center left are all finally agreeing on one thing without any gaps in between. And it's Israel's control on the United States, as well as the fact that this war is not beneficial for the United States. And so this is why people like Ben Shapiro are grasping for straws and trying to explain this conflict. It's right there.
Yep. So let's play this, because like they're so fucking dumb that they don't realize. Because, bro, Riyadh, what do you mean you've been talking about? I said this is one of the few topics that people on both the left and the right agree on, which means it's a serious
Go to my
problem.
Twitter. Go to my Twitter really quick.
Your Twitter? Okay, let me duplicate it.
You'll find the
video. You might have already taken the words for me.
Right there. I just reposted it. Third one down.
This one here?
No, go down. Go down.
Oh, yeah. Fucking retards.
See
Yeah.
what I said?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna read.
Like, do they not realize that that's...
I'll play this shit while you guys do that. Hold on. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna retweet you over here.
Israeli occupation of the United States government.
Israel controls our government.
Israel controls our government.
Control and influence and manipulate our system.
Ruled and controlled and manipulated by the nation state of Israel.
They are vampires. They suck our blood.
They suck the life out of this country.
We cannot be slaves to Israel.
I'm not a slave to Israel.
Iran does not have a nuclear weapon.
Iran did not have a nuclear arsenal.
These.
You want me to pause it?
I said true. No, I said true. You can keep playing.
Okay.
You just retweet it.
Supreme leader of Iran
Got you right now.
promulgated a fatwa.
He had to put out a fatwa against nuclear weapons.
We had to join Israel's war of choice.
A war of choice. That's what this is.
The real threat to America is from Israel.
Our alliance with Israel as an existential threat to the United States.
They will nuke the entire world.
Israel is the biggest threat to world peace.
Let us never forget who the real enemy is.
The enemy is Israel.
We need to decouple from this country.
We need to decouple. Decouple. Let's separate.
We need to free America from this sick, perverse, parasitic organism that has attached itself to us.
Damn.
Hey, the truth is the truth. Niggas are mad.
Parallels are uncanny. And the
Bro,
scary thing
like,
is those guys have
Nick.
opposing views on everything. They agree on nothing. And they would have never agreed on nothing if it weren't for this topic existing. So that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, like this is how stupid these idiots are. It's like the retards like Yosef Haddad and Elon Levy when they're getting bombed and they're running to the shelters and complaining about running into the shelters. It's like, dude, like, did you forget the fact that you guys bombed Gaza for like 3 years and you guys were bragging about, oh, don't start wars you can't finish, and they're showing like Gaza like a fucking completely flattened.
Yep.
It's like, and then you go ahead and you show Anna Kasparian, who's on the left, and then Nick on the right, both criticizing Israel. Like, dude, you just proved our fucking point.
Solidified their point. That's why I was like, hey guys, maybe delete this.
Idiots.
I was trying to help them out. So
talking about how America is rotten. Why is America rotten? By the way, America's rotten because of, wait for it, it's Protestantism.
It is a kind of eschatological heresy. And that is the problem, metaphysical problem of American people. So when you try to get to the roots, your roots are rotten from the very beginning.
Okay, so again, he says that it is Calvinism that's rotten from the very beginning, Protestantism.
Let me guess, he's a Orthodox Christian?
I would assume so. I'm not sure what his religious background is, but regardless of that, what he's saying is true. Protestantism is the catapult to allow people to support Israel, without a doubt. Not all of it, but evangelical Protestantism in and of itself is actually the real driving point. Remember, those red heifers that are perfect, by the way, were supplied by Christians in Texas. So the whole Protestant base in the United States is what allows us to diplomatically support Israel, or has allowed us to diplomatically support Israel for like 20 years without condemnation until today. So that's completely true. That's very true.
And Daily Vibes, thank you for the 20 gifted, bro.
Govin Zechariah says, W. Riyadh and Myron, Christ is King. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate the $5. So, and that's the thing. Orthodoxy and Catholicism oppose not only, it's not even this paleo-conservative ideology that they have. It's theologically, there's no binding to the nation state of Israel. They understand the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible reading as the people of Israel, as the formerly chosen people of God, and that was abrogated by the New Testament in several passages that you can find. So it's a very clear understanding. It's not complicated, but of course the spin-off within the United States and a lot of Protestant churches doesn't read it that way. And I've passed by churches that have Israeli flags on them. So that is a real phenomenon.
No, Riyadh, what happened to Protestantism being like based? Wasn't Martin Luther the one who wrote the book, Jays and Their Lies? Wasn't he a Protestant, or the one that started Protestantism?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too privy to the history, but it's crazy to see what it's unfolded to now. But that's the thing with Protestantism is it's not, and some Protestants might get mad at me, and I'm Muslim, so I have no skin in the game, so you can tell me, shut up, your opinion doesn't matter. But just for me to kind of give my 2 cents, Protestantism does not have an early church to go back to. And I get it. A lot of people say the whole idea is that it's not a religion, it's a relationship with Christ. That's what they all say. And I understand that. I see how you can read the New Testament that way. But there is a set of rules. There is a law. There is a way to go about the religion. And the earliest churches are Catholicism, the Catholic Church, and then Orthodoxy. And it's funny enough that their readings have nothing to do with supporting Jews militarily, diplomatically, economically. They actually are against all of that. And they actually read the New Testament to find that the Romans were the ones who were commanded by the Pharisees and the Jewish people at the time to, crucify Jesus Christ, if you will. So it's Protestants pretty much dishonestly read scripture and then politically use it to support Israel. And they lean on Israel to fulfill biblical prophecy that will then bring back Jesus Christ. But the problem is they don't have to lean on the pillar of Hebrew Bible prophecy in order to bring back Jesus Christ. They're void of that now. That's no longer binding on them, but they kind of like skip over it. So they think that the third temple has to be reenacted. They have to do the red heifer sacrifice. They have to do all of this to bring their Messiah. Then our Messiah will come. But that won't happen unless Israel has hegemony over the entire Middle East. Then they'll be able to bring their Messiah, then Jesus Christ, the whole deal. And they're still the chosen people of God. That has not been retracted from them. So Sneako was just talking to a U.S. soldier on some base getting ready to get deployed to Iran, and he was like, but they're the chosen people. So as much as everybody in this chat may be red-pilled to this, a lot of Christians really still don't understand this.
Now, is there a difference between evangelical Christians or these Protestants?
There is.
So thank you so much for the 5.
There is.
So they're different.
Yes, there is. Look, Protestantism in and of itself is kind of a blurred denomination of Christianity, if you will. There's so many different factions that come from it, but there are evangelical Christians that call themselves, Protestant, that believe in the nation state of Israel being equal or parallel to the Israel that's mentioned in the whole Holy Bible that is prophesied, to be this land that was promised to them by God because of their, chosen status and so on. But not all Protestants, a lot of Protestants denounce that. Go ahead.
Was Charlie one of these Protestants, or was he an evangelical?
Yeah, from what I understand, Charlie was like a mainline Protestant Christian. But here's the thing, and this is, not an attack on Christianity. Christianity has so many different denominations. You can kind of straddle the line as to what your position is. And I will concede this can be done in Islam, but it's a lot easier to debunk it because the tradition and the scripture is really clear. With the New Testament, you have so many different books. You have to couple in the fact of whether the Old Testament is valid in a canonical sense and it's valid in a law sense, or it's just valid from historical reason and thought. So there's so many different ways to kind of understand Christianity in the modern scope. So for Charlie Kirk, it's super easy to go, God said, bless the Jews, so I'm going to bless the Jews. Paul said this about the Jews, so I'm going to do this with the Jews. And Jesus Christ was a Jew. And that's all true. And if you don't have a coherent understanding of the New Testament and you understand the exegesis of those verses or of that same scripture, then you might just take that on its face and run with it and really believe it. And so it's very easy for Christians. By the way, Jewish people in Israel see right through this. So it's easy for them to weaponize Christians to kind of, create this idea that the Old Testament is synonymous with Jesus Christ and the New Testament is synonymous with the nation state of Israel. And so it's easy for them to weaponize people like Charlie Kirk or these Zio Christians to push this idea that Christians must support the state of Israel. And then what's the cherry on top is, well, we got to beat the Muslims. So we got to team up with the Jews because at least Jesus was a Jew and we share scripture with the Jews, right? We share the Hebrew Bible. We share the first 5 books, the tablet that was given to Moses, this whole thing. That's our theology. So the Jewish people strategically utilize that in their benefit by going, look, join us, our scripture, our prophecies are the same. So it is very, very tricky. It's very deceptive. And of course, Kirk was a master at it, but it only took, one very educated, maybe not even Orthodox or Catholic, but somebody who actually understands the New Testament with an honest reading to kind of debunk his claims. But of course, I don't think that challenge was ever posed to him. I will say a Palestinian Christian did approach him once, and they typically are Orthodox or Catholic, and he kind of stumped him. So I think he was just a Zionist Christian, really. I don't know if he was evangelical, so to say.
The op happening in real time. Okay, the attack on Protestantism is an attack on, by the way, the fundamental nature of the United States. When people say that America is a Christian country, that's true, but America also happens to be rooted in a particular form of Christianity, a particular form of Protestant Christianity, which is what Dugin is attacking here. And then Dugin, of course, lumps together atheism and progressivism with
Myron,
the Enlightenment, which would be the same.
Bit of a silly chat. Ali8408, $10. Come on, Byron and Myron. Are you guys really going to sit there and act like Fuentes and Kasparian weren't just reading the same script, just like the MSM? All right. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, bro. No comment. Keep going. I'm just not even going to give that.
America's founding.
The main thing we share, all the traditionalists, we share this refusal of the Western modernity. So we can accept different traditions, but we consider the modernity to be absolutely wrong.
Right.
Atheism, pluralism, progressivism, enlightenment, all that things are totally evil.
The Enlightenment, you see, is totally wrong. The Enlightenment. Okay, so I'm just going to point out that the Enlightenment is what has led to the vast enrichment of humanity since about the year 1800. And you can look at it on the charts. Exponential, explosive economic growth since that period. Again, that is not an anti-religious point. You can absolutely be, as I am, an observant religious person and also believe in the fundamental principles of enlightenment, like the power of human reason. And of course, Dugin then goes on and he claims that President Trump and, wait for it, the Christian Zionists are the Antichrist. Again, you're hearing much of this sort of rhetoric mirrored on Tucker Carlson's show recently.
Yo, did you see when Ben Shapiro talked about how apparently the Jesus that Muslims look at isn't the same Jesus that the Christians look at and all this other shit that he was saying yesterday?
Ben
you see
Shapiro
that?
said that?
Yeah, I could get the clip. I actually want to get your. I
didn't see it, but I could already imagine how he's going to spin that.
Yeah, let me find it for you because I want to get your take since you're way more religiously aware than I am. Let me find it.
Sure.
This collusion between Christian Zionism of Trump with its aggressivity, with this hegemony, with this imperialism, with this radical anti-Christian elements you have mentioned, and collusion with this radical, aggressive Jewish Israeli Zionism, that is seen by our society as the confirmation of the fears and predictions of our elders, Christian Orthodox elders, because it becomes more and more, it looks like
so really quick, hang on,
Antichrist.
just pause really quick. I have a lot of people in my chat kind of confused about what I said. So when I talk about Christ in the Old Testament, you'll find different verses in the New Testament where Christ says, I have not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it and everything like that. When Jesus came, and really this is kind of similar in Islamic and Christian theology, he came to abrogate the law, change what was not correct, and tell the people what was correct. And so he was the new authority. He himself was the new authority. And of course, chief rabbis, the Pharisees, rejected him for obvious reasons, as they did with many other prophets. But the whole idea of the law being fulfilled, meaning the Old Testament is no longer binding on Christians, happens through that of the crucifixion. Christ dies for the sins. His blood is, kind of this redemption, this vicarious atonement. He dies for you. And so no longer is this kingdom that's always mentioned, or eternal life, physical. It's not flesh anymore. It's spiritual. And that happens via his crucifixion, which means the law is no longer binding. I have fulfilled the law via my sacrifice for you. So I don't know how Christians don't understand that. That's kind of like the mainstream idea of Christianity, and why the Old Testament laws in Leviticus, Deuteronomy are no longer binding on Christians. That's why Christians can go and get tattoos and shit like that, because all of those things are explicitly stated in Leviticus. And eating pork and stuff, that's no longer, aside from the verse in Mark where he made all food clean, there's no longer this binding factor where you have to follow the same old law with sacrifice and things that you still see modern day Jewish people practicing and following. That was fulfilled via the crucifixion. But yeah, of course, Jesus Christ was a Jew, but he brought a new law. Of course, that's what Christians have today. So just a little bit of an elucidated picture.
So, what is
I'm gonna find this clip for you.
Dugin doing here? What is Sneako doing here? What is this professor from China doing here? They're seeding chaos. And you have chaos agents in the United States who are mirroring this because they're trying to black-pill the United States. I talked yesterday about the difference between the American exceptionalists and the grievance party of both sides. And it's very, very real. It's very, very real. Alexander Dugin and this weird streamer, Sneako, and Professor Zhang are all saying the same thing as Hasan Piker. They're all saying the same thing. It is Alexander Dugin who wrote in 1997 It is, quote, of the utmost importance to launch a geopolitical chaos in the domestic life of the United States, to encourage all kinds of separatism and ethnic, social, and racial conflicts by supporting all kinds of dissident movements, extremist groups, racist and sectarian ones, who will destabilize the domestic political process of the United States. At the same time, we will support the isolationist tendencies in American politics, even if this isolationism is being implemented through the frame of the original Monroe Doctrine. So again, no, that's legitimately what they are trying to do. And then, of course, he argues, quote, all the content of modernity is Satanism and degeneration. Okay, so this is the mission. This is the shtick. Folks, spring is a natural reset point. If you've been putting off...
Of course, he has to run an ad.
...clients, claiming that the alternative to American hegemony is Eurasian unity. Eurasia, by the way...
And let me know, Riyadh, when you got to go. What's because I know you got work tomorrow.
No, you're good. You're good. I can go for a while.
Is a term that
okay.
Dugin loves. Eurasia is the idea that essentially Europe should be dominated by Russia and China should be dominated. China should dominate Asia, and the two of them will hold hands into the future together. Here is Zhang, a Chinese propagandist.
An alternative to American hegemony is maybe Eurasian unity, right? Especially between Russia, China, and Iran. So if these three nations are able to create a trade bloc with BRICS as a framework, then this could easily extend to Europe, to Africa, to the rest of Southeast Asia. And in this formulation, there would be no one great power, right? China talks about the Gold Corridor, which is this blockchain-like gold-based financial system where gold is stored in different vaults across Eurasia. And this becomes the basis of a new financial system. And this is all plausible. And I think this could be very good. The problem is that this would basically bankrupt America.
Okay, so again, the goal here is obvious. China, Russia, with their friends in America, like the Sneakos, and yes, like the Tucker Carlsons, who, by the way, is named by Dugin as an ally. They're linking hands across the aisle with people like Hasan Piker. The left, by the way, has decided that Hasan Piker is the new hero. Ezra Klein, who, again, I'm so disappointed in Ezra as a person, just as a normal, rational human being, for his defense of Hasan Piker. It's crazy. Hasan Piker defends legitimate terrorist groups, like full-scale genocidal terrorist groups. But Ezra Klein found a way to defend him in the New York Times. Quote, pick over Piker's years of streaming, and you can find offensive things he said.
Let's go to the Tucker thing. This nigga's so insufferable. You got a Tucker clip?
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah, pull it up, man.
So I believe it's this video. However, we can skip to where, because I believe he's talking to this Orthodox bishop. I think this guy's a bishop. But let's see. I think he monologues in the beginning. Okay.
That was Sunday. And then exactly 1 week later, also on Sunday, the Christian holy day, he attacked the Pope, the leader of the world's largest religion and largest Christian denomination, and attacked him personally and said basically he's only Pope because of me. He's bad. The Pope is bad. And then later that day, maybe most interestingly, bafflingly of all, he sent out this meme. Take a look at this. Now, there are two on the screen. The one on...
And I ain't gonna lie, bro, this is where Trump really lost the base. Like, even Brillen Holland condemned this. And he's a dumbass, for real. So that was huge.
Someone edited it and made the guy Epstein, and I thought that shit was hilarious. If I could
saw that.
It was Lucas Gage did that shit, bro. That shit had me fucking dead, man.
That's good. That's good.
Let me see if I can find it.
That is what he did with Epstein. That's why that nigga's in Tel Aviv right now having a good time.
He's the one that he sent out. And it's himself. It's Donald Trump, President of the United States, dressed as Jesus, healing a man. And you can see the healing power coming
real
off
quick. Hold on. I'll show you guys this shit. This shit had me dead, bro. Nico's corrected painting of Donald Christ. You know what I mean? With the Israel flag and shit. Yo, Lucas Gage is hilarious, bro.
Yeah, so they got Netanyahu in the corner. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. You go, sure.
Was that Ghislaine Maxwell too? That's funny.
His
I
right
think so,
hand.
yeah.
Now, the image on the left of your screen is the original image, and it was floating around the internet. Who knows exactly where it came from, but it's been there for quite some time. The one on the right is the one the president sent out, White House Communications Office or whoever does this, sent out, and you'll notice that it's been changed, and the American soldier over the president's head, the president as Jesus' head, has been changed and is now, if you look very carefully, a demon, some kind of winged creature of hell. So it goes from an image that suggests
maybe a bit of an overread. I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch there.
You know, healing and light to an image that suggests, I don't know, a scene from Revelation, John's vision on the Isle of Patmos, the end times, the apocalypse, who knows? Nothing good. It suggests demonic power because there is a demon in it. So he sent that out and then withdrew it, deleted the tweet from the internet after an outcry, but was asked about it. And he said, yeah, I sent that. Didn't explain how the demon got in there. Someone at the White House put it in.
Deleting the tweet, I'll admit, was, and this is what we spoke about earlier. By the way, what Trump did was disgusting and blasphemous, but you might as well stand on business now. You know, deleting the tweet really was an admittance to guilt there.
Didn't explain why. And he said, I sent it out, but it wasn't me as Jesus, though obviously it is. It was me as a doctor because I heal people. Jesus, of course, basically described himself as a doctor, someone who came for the sick to heal them, which he did.
I want to see if he's he was asked about that, I think outside of the White House. He was like, no, that's not what I meant. I was a doctor and I was simply healing a man. I think it was a good post. I thought it was smart, really, quite frankly. I thought it was a great post. An AI post, you know, the AI is getting really complicated. So nigga completely deflected it. Like, all right, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like, you definitely just try to pose as God. Like, just admit it.
Maybe a distinction without a difference, but still kind of confusing.
He's not religious, so he doesn't care.
Then,
you know what I mean? Like, Trump's not religious.
Trump has said before, like, I'm not even Christian, you know? Yeah. He was asked, name a Bible verse once, and he said he couldn't name one. Like, Trump is definitely not, and that's fine, right? Who cares? But he's definitely not religious whatsoever.
Today, a day later, was asked about it again, and he said, no, I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't send it out. Which wasn't exactly an answer to the question. Even more confusing. What was that? And then, to make it even further mysterious, sent out this meme on Truth Social, retweeting somebody else, and it's him, Donald Trump, being, I don't know, how would you describe that? Caressed by? Healed by? Maybe endorsed by Jesus. That's unmistakably Jesus, the Christian Messiah, the man God at the center of Christianity, with his arm around Donald Trump, basically saying, you go Trump, I'm on your side. So all of that in a little over a week. What does it mean? Because it certainly means something. This isn't so much a couple of memes. These are icons. This is iconography. These are attempts to send a statement about faith. What statement is the president sending? Well, not a coherent one. Doesn't actually add up to a theology. It's mockery. He's mocking Jesus. He's making fun of Christianity. Yeah, the central figure of the religion is being held up for mockery.
And I know I'm going to do the Muslim thing here. If Trump did this in a Muslim country, he would be in prison. Just saying. Just saying. This is punishable by death in some Muslim countries. Just saying. Hey, Christians, take a note out of that book. Hey, look, listen, don't shoot the messenger. But Muslims seem to have a little bit more jealousy for holy figures than Christians do, and it shouldn't be that way, especially when that's the center figure of your religion.
Of course. And his description of how this got out is itself mockery of the idea of truth. One day he says, yeah, I did it. Next day he says, no,
Hey, Mr. Drippy, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out to you.
I didn't do it. Both are on video. That's not really a lie. It's more than a lie. It's bigger than a lie. It's an attack not just on a specific set of facts. It's an attack on the idea that there are facts. It's an attack on truth. Openly. No one's hiding this. So this was kind of dismissed after a online kerfuffle for a few hours, and people were outraged, and then they weren't, and we've got other things to worry about. They moved on. But for sincere religious people, for Christians who care about Jesus and what's true and what's not, a lot of them went to their Bibles to try and figure out, what are we watching here? And a lot of them came up with a couple of verses that seemed to fit what we're watching. And if you are a sincere Christian or know some, maybe you got these texted to you, but we'll read them just so you know how a lot of people of faith were interpreting this. The first is from Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians, the church is Thessalonica, chapter 2, a very well-known verse in which he's describing what's going to happen when Jesus comes back. And he says, you're going to hear that Jesus is coming back. Don't believe what you hear. A bunch of things have to happen before he returns to earth, redeems the world, history ends. And you'll know that he's coming by these events. And among them will be the rise of a figure he describes as the man of lawlessness, sometimes describes as the Antichrist. But the man of lawlessness is the phrase from his second letter to the Thessalonians. And he says this, there will be...
Mr. Drippy, thank you for the 5. Do you want to go into the secret damage of the Iran war?
Yeah. Did you have that Shapiro clip, or you couldn't find it?
I couldn't find it. I was looking everywhere. I couldn't find that shit, man.
No, you're good.
Annoying. All right, let's go right here.
Across the Gulf.
I was going to watch this yesterday, but I said, you know what? Let me watch it today.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Access to real-time satellite imagery is being restricted. By piecing together information from some unlikely
89
sources,
Mark, thank you so much for the
we're
super
able
chat,
to
man.
overcome
Thank you
these
for
limits
the
and see
$8.
what's really going on. We go in depth to track strikes on key bases across the Gulf and show how satellite imagery helps uncover the full picture in this episode of Photo Evidence. This is Prince Sultan Air Base, one of the main air bases in the Middle East, from which America is fighting its war with Iran. This base isn't home to combat aircraft. This is where the US keeps its logistics and support planes. One of the most important is the E3 AWACS, which stands for Airborne Early Warning and Control. You can see a bunch of them parked in the top right-hand corner of this image. And here's what they look like close up. The body is a Boeing 707 aircraft, but with significant modifications for life in the military. The most obvious is this huge disc mounted above the fuselage. This is the rotordome, essentially a giant rotating radar dish. It's 6 feet thick, 30 feet across, and when in use, rotates once every 10 seconds. What this does is act as the eyes in the skies for any nearby aircraft.
Yep.
It identifies and tracks friendlies, letting pilots know where their wingmen are to avoid them shooting at one another by mistake. But it also tracks the enemy, in the air, on land, or at sea, letting friendly pilots know what they need to shoot at, where it is, and
Big Pepper, shout out to you.
where it's going. When flying at 30,000 feet, that radar has a range of 120,000 square miles, which is about the size of Poland or the state of New Mexico. In other words, it is an extremely valuable piece of kit. The US Air Force currently only has 16 of them anywhere in the world, 6 of which are based in Saudi Arabia. The last E3 was produced in the 90s, so technically it is priceless. But replacing one with a newer version, the E7, costs in the realm of $700 million. And the US Air Force is going to have to
It's insane how much money we spend on weapons, dude.
replace one. Because on March the 27th, Iran managed to destroy an E3 during an attack on this airbase. Here you can see the aircraft before the strike. The black rotordome with a distinctive white stripe is visible at the back of the wings here. And here's the same aircraft after the strike. The rotordome is completely gone. And there's a large black
People
scorch mark.
make the argument, and this is
And they
something
probably
you
use
know
the
they have a lack of understanding. Yeah,
Like probably an old drone or
piece of
like
shit, $20,000 drone, bro, that they made somewhere underground in like 2 hours. This is the problem. It's not that we're losing militarily. It's not that we're even losing that much equipment. We're not. We've lost the ability to deter at the rate in which we were able to before, because now people can see that we're not indestructible. You know, that's the big part.
We can't protect our allies.
Yeah,
we can't protect our allies. That was
bases
the worst.
leveled to the ground. You know, 13 bases completely taken out of commission. And so for us to station back at those bases, get them back up and running, is going to cost even more money than that of what we have wasted already by just having so much aircraft and military technology destroyed, and especially all of the offensive campaigns that we've launched against Iran, that costing money too. So as a whole, the United States has lost a lot of its deterrence ability, and we've lost the ability for an escalation dominant war with how Iran has been able to strategically destroy critical infrastructure that actually does matter in a long scale conflict. And you could thank Russian intelligence for that. I'm pretty sure Russia has played a big hand in giving Iran the go ahead and the whereabouts as to what to strike, where to strike, when to strike. And it's worked. You know, it's worked. It hasn't worked completely in the fact that they've completely demilitarized us. Of course, they'll never be able to do that. But again, it's this idea of deterrence, us being able to flex our muscles, exercise brinksmanship without doing anything. Yeah, that probably won't be a thing anymore. That's definitely gone. If it existed before, it doesn't exist now.
Our president of the Middle East is going to be so cooked after this, bro. I'm telling you. And that's what I was trying to explain to Dinesh. Like, yo, there's no way, like, unless we take out the Iranian government as it stands today, there's no way we'll be able to maintain the same semblance of presence in the Middle East, bro. No way.
The tarmac.
Ain't no way, bro.
The rear part of the fuselage appears to be missing as well, and there's a large amount of debris scattered on the runway. The tail, while still intact, does not appear to be attached to the rest of the aircraft. The angle of the fins in the second image suggests it has tilted backwards. And there's a large number of vehicles parked nearby, probably driven by Air Force personnel responding to the attack. These satellite images were published by the Iranian state. Obviously, they need to be treated with skepticism, but we've been able to verify this strike with third-party images taken from the ground. These images broadly confirm what we saw on the satellites, but add a few interesting details. The rear portion of the aircraft has been destroyed, and there is a large debris field on the surrounding runway. The tail section has detached from the main aircraft body and has tilted backwards. However, it appears the rotor dome survived and is lying among the debris down here. A second image taken from the reverse angle seems to confirm this. Here you can see the sunlight reflecting off the surface. From overhead, this detail was not visible. The black dish was disguised against the black scorch marks on the ground. It is only from the side that this detail is revealed. Another interesting detail that is visible from the ground but not from
Somebody
the air
asked you a question.
is the tail number of
Thanks
this
so much,
aircraft.
Govin, for the super chat. He says, Myron, when are you getting Zircon F&F?
I don't know, bro. I don't know what Zerk is doing. I try.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
He's been out of the he's been off the radar, so.
Yeah. I really don't know, bro. I wish I could, man, but
Bro's been ghost. He's been low key.
Yep.
Here as 0005. Cross-referencing this with flight tracking data, we can reveal the full tail number was 810005. This matches an E-3 aircraft that was operating as part of the 552nd Air Control Wing and based out of Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma. Flight tracking data traces it to Ramstein Air Base in Germany on February the 19th, a major logistics hub for US aircraft traveling to the Middle East. From Ramstein, this plane then flew to Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia. The Iranians also claimed that a Shahed one-way attack drone caused this damage. It isn't possible from these images alone to say whether or not that's correct. However, some of the circumstantial evidence that we've seen corroborates that. First, there is clear evidence of an explosion. Aside from the missing section of the aircraft, there's a large debris field around the wreck. Pieces of the aircraft body have been thrown up and onto the way for a
let's see.
moment.
I want to move forward to see if she covers the Isfahan shit.
A large fire. What sparked the fire is impossible to say from the images alone, but given that we know Iran attacked the base around this time, a drone or missile strike is possible. We know this area of the base was used to park KC-135 refueling tankers, and given the pattern of the scorch mark, burning fuel could well have been involved. It therefore seems fair to conclude that at least one Stratotanker was hit by an Iranian attack, was destroyed, and spilled burning fuel onto the aircraft apron. Whether or not other tankers were parked beside it at the time is impossible to say. There does not seem to be any damage below the scorch mark, where one other tanker was parked, so Iran's claim to have destroyed 3 aircraft is unlikely to be true. But a second aircraft could have well been parked here. Given the burn mark on the ground here is lighter, it seems unlikely another aircraft was destroyed here, but it may have been damaged. It is also impossible to say whether the other 4 aircraft visible in the Iranian image were also damaged, as the Iranian state.
Josie told me she spoke to Zerka last week. He's been globetrotting. Josie, what do you mean by globetrotting? Traveling the world is what you're saying?
Myron, you have to fucking, and I know you're not going to want to hear this, when you're on the show with the bitches
And it's crazy because he's so fucking good at it. I looked at Myron the other day. I said, what the fuck? How does this guy talk to these bitches all night? And then he does his political stream? Because you're the incarnation of hard work. You're playing into who you are. But you have to fucking, if you do something, never do it for free. If you're good at it, you fucking make money on it.
That's Zerka monologue.
Yo, that's just spot on, bro.
Yo,
What the fuck?
I think that's what he was telling you on that space,
bro. Yo, what the fuck? Nigga pulled out of Zerka impersonation. Perfect out of nowhere.
Never do it for free. If you're fucking good at it, you make money doing it.
You know it's Zerka when his voice gets low. That's when he goes into his monologue. Yo. I haven't seen that nigga in a minute,
bro,
though.
What the fuck? Yeah, it's just messaged me said, bro, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, like this guy, yo, you guys don't know, man. My brother got the impersonations down, bro. They got them.
Circumstantially, you could say that the US Air Force would have moved these planes away from the burning tanker if they were able. The fact that they're still here suggests they cannot move and are therefore damaged, but that is pure speculation. If we remain with the Sentinel satellite imagery for a moment, we can also see evidence of a third strike which Iranian media did not claim. This hangar, just to the south of the scorched aircraft apron, shows signs of damage to the roof. There are 3 dark marks, 2 on the left-hand side of the image and a third on the right. If we look at this earlier satellite image, also taken by Copernicus, then we can see only the right-hand mark is visible. And if we look at this high-resolution satellite image taken from before the war began, we can see there are no marks visible at all. What does that tell us? Well, it appears from the high-resolution image that this is an aircraft hangar, probably used for storing and repairing C-130 aircraft. You can see one of those parked here, with its signature straight wing and 4 engines. At some point after the Iran war began, this hangar was damaged, creating the first mark. What exactly caused this damage is unclear. It could well have been an accident, but it is equally possible it was caused by an Iranian attack. As with the E-3 AWACS plane, the limited nature of the damage seems to suggest that, if it was an attack, a drone is the more likely culprit. If it had been a missile, then we'd expect the whole structure to be flattened. Then, on March the 27th, the same hangar was damaged twice more. Again, the cause is unclear from the images alone.
Yo, remember the question you asked me the other day about Vinny kind of being based sometimes? He actually was kind of giving it to Adam the other day. I have a 5-minute clip that we can watch after this.
It's Muslim mom or some shit reacted to it, right? Pull it up, bro. Pull it up. Actually, I want to react to that. Pull it up. I'll take my shit down.
I have it right here. Go ahead, take it off. I'll play it.
U.S. enter this war in Iran. And this is Anthony Blinken, obviously former Secretary of State.
And I just want to preface at the outset of this, this is one of his nastier moments, real. And that the bar is high for that. This is one of his nastier moments.
Let's see it. Basically saying, was it Bibi? Was it Trump? Whose decision was it?
It's 1,000% President Trump's decision. But you cannot sit here and pretend that Bibi Netanyahu doesn't have major influence. Jared Kushner has known him since he was a child. His father in New Jersey, he used to go visit him, Bibi, in Jersey. He's over there negotiating. That's a conflict of interest, number one. Number
W. Vinny. Okay, look. I always give the credit where it is due. Okay? You can't get mad at him here.
2, we can't pretend, Adam, everything was Iran, and then Israel went on full-on seizing land and attacking in Lebanon, and mind you, Adam, in heavily populated civilian and Christian parts of Lebanon. And they're literally seizing land. And it's looking now, because Adam,
And just for some context, ever since this clip had happened, more strikes have been targeted on Lebanon. They've been destroying southern Lebanon. And Israeli officials have actually advised Lebanese citizens to get out of south of Lebanon if they have already fled, not to come back, because they want to annex that part of Lebanon. They also want to remove Hezbollah's influence. So they've been killing civilians nonstop. They struck Lebanon almost 100 times in one day right after the ceasefire. So that's why they're talking about this.
They bombed the hell out of Beirut, bro. They bombed the hell out of Beirut. It was horrible.
Killed so many people.
Palestinians, lots of Christians that live there. What, 30 to 40% of Lebanon is Christian?
Yeah, like large Christian population, large Shia. Yeah, and a lot of the Lebanese population, people don't know, they're as tough as the Gazans. They've been bombed by Israel for years. So southern Lebanon is no stranger to Israeli aggression whatsoever.
Not
and it's
at all.
gotten
They've
to
been
a
building
point.
since the 80s, bro.
Yeah, and it's really gotten to a point now where they're making it increasingly obvious. Lebanon is just like the West Bank. They want it.
Who's to stop them from just going, well, there's terrorists here, bomb them? Who's checking to see how many civilians are dying in Lebanon? Where's the, because if you, all you have to say is this, there's terrorists there. You could literally keep bombing, keep expanding until you've taken over as much land as you want. Obviously, I want Hezbollah taken out. Obviously, I want Hamas done. Obviously, I want ISIS done, which Trump basically did. But if you've been seeing, like I've been seeing, literally in the downtown area, you want to talk about Miami?
Bro, Iran fought ISIS, bro. Like, yo, you know, this comes back to like, that's why when I was on with Scott Horan, I like really like made sure to clarify that like when we were in Iraq, we were fighting alongside the Shiites against the Sunnis in Iraq, and those Shiites that we're fighting alongside, they didn't make the IEDs. Those IEDs came from were pretty much inspired by like the IRA. It wasn't Iranian IFPs or whatever the fuck they call them.
Yeah.
So, or IFDs, whatever. But like, yeah.
And
Sorry,
also
go
the
ahead.
other issue about the bombing, the Beirut bombing and everything like that. Let me ask you a question. What's worse, your enemy backstabbing you or punching you? I mean, it's really not a backstab. It's frontward facing because they're your enemy. Your adversary attacking you, or your closest friend knowing your adversary is about to attack you and sit back and record and not say anything.
Precisely.
Who's a bigger enemy to you?
Yo, the fact that Israel knew about that attack and didn't do nothing.
Israel knew about that attack. We have weaponized that attack to justify this war endlessly. Pete Hegseth has said it a million times out of the Pentagon. Yet Israel and Israeli intelligence knew everything about it, top to bottom. They knew where it was going to be, how it was going to happen, all the intelligence on it. Didn't tell us once. Hundreds of Marines died as a result. So you tell me who's a bigger enemy to the United States? The people who were frontwardly fighting and facing and expecting attacks from, or our friend in the middle who hadn't warned us about the attack so we can get involved in a fight? Come on.
Amy, I'm out in Miami, a whole apartment complex with civilians coming all the way down, and they're bombing it. So that's what I'm saying is, Adam, there's a huge Christian population there, which I'm not comfortable with them going on full offensive when you're supposed to be focusing on Iran. I get it. They could chew, what's the saying that you said before? Walk and chew gum. But it's like, bro.
What is this? What is this clip, Rob?
Yeah,
this was the strikes last week in Lebanon.
Yeah, that's okay. You want to kill one terrorist, so you do that? Let's just say there's one Hezbollah guy in there.
Why would you say there's only?
How the fuck can you justify that? How the fuck can you look at Patrick Bet-David watching the clip?
Yeah.
The nigga stressed, bro. This is indefensible. Come on, bro. Come on, come home, Patrick. You know this is bullshit. Stop defending this, bro. Come on. He's stressed watching that clip. They leveled a building to the ground to get one military commando who's likely insignificant, and in the result or the process killed 100 fucking people, 20 of them being kids. You know?
Not only that, keep in mind that this, a lot of people don't know this. So what happened was the Israelis knew that they were doing a Zoom call, and they basically intercepted the Zoom calls, and that's why they acted as quickly as they did, and they were that reckless because they knew where they were at that time.
Yeah.
So within minutes, bro,
they
had
really quickly.
They figured, for the chat that you guys are listening in. Basically, the Israelis intercepted where they were at via them being on a Zoom call, and that's how they were able to figure out where they were, and they struck all those locations. Which I ain't gonna lie, bro, that's kind of crazy. Niggas was plotting military operations on Zoom. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, that's how the Venezuelans got fucked up, right? Niggas were using what's that fucking oh my god
what was it?
What's the shit when people can log into your computer? That when you're working together, I fucking do it. I use it with bills. It's the one where they can log TeamViewer. Yeah, niggas were the Venezuelan military was using TeamViewer, bro. Like, yo, you niggas, yo, what? Oh yeah, let's just use TeamViewer. We'll be fine. Like, niggas are retarded, bro.
Yeah, no wonder.
And then they wonder why
regime changed in 10 seconds, bro.
Yo,
you see fucking Iran shooting Mossad agents, lying down these protests, getting rid of the Starlink. They're doing all the Starlink shit. And then fucking, Venezuelan niggas using Microsoft Teams and shit. Like, yeah, you guys are easy pickings. Real easy. But look at him. He's stressed watching this. I mean, that clip is
Lebanon.
Yeah, that's okay. You want to kill one terrorist, so you
Michakas, thank you for the $10 W stream. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're enjoying.
do that. Let's just say there's one Hezbollah guy in there.
Why would you say there's only one?
I'm just saying, how many?
Why would you say there's only one guy? Maybe there's three. Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck.
Why did they take out that building?
Because
it's like, are you serious? They just leveled the building to the ground. Why would you say there's only one? All right, bro, there were 10. Doesn't justify it anymore. What the fuck was the point of even saying that?
There could be 50. I don't give a fuck. That's still not worth that shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
People always wonder, how come the Israeli military, the IDF, and Mossad are so effective at assassinating every single person they have on their hit list? Because they're willing to go this far.
Yeah, they are.
That's why they accomplish all of their goals when it comes to assassinating high-ranking military personnel, high-ranking intelligence assets, because they don't give a fuck who's around them. They don't give a fuck where they are. When they're in the public or when they're in private, they will kill you. If it means killing you and 100 people die as a result, they'll bomb the whole block. Remember John Kiriakou, who was saying they'll bomb the whole block and the next 5 blocks to get one Iranian scientist. One. So that's the lengths they go.
You're going to die tomorrow.
You're going to die tomorrow. Calling up the wives and shit. Your husband gonna die tomorrow. Fucking. And by the way, the wife probably died too, because she was probably 10 miles away. Like, it's just indefensible.
Bro, it's what they do. And you guys got to understand, like, the Israelis, like, they're ruthless and they don't care if it's like a 100-to-1 ratio. They'll do it. That's why they're one of the best intel services and they have the most assassinations, is because they don't give a fuck and they're that ruthless. They do not care whatsoever, bro, at all.
Me. Do you have reports?
So
I don't know, because there's
I appreciate your passion, and let me respond real quickly. 30 seconds ago, you didn't even know that Hezbollah was based in Lebanon.
I didn't say based. I said they were. I didn't say that. I said they're everywhere.
No, they're not. They're in Lebanon. Period. Full stop. You just said obviously we want to take out Hezbollah.
Yeah. So kill how many civilians for one terrorist?
How do you assume that they do that?
Yeah. What do you mean? I don't.
Pause. And Dinesh tried to bring this up too, and I told him, well, because he was talking about these resistance groups, Hezbollah, whatever, and I was like, yeah, well, keep in mind that Hezbollah was created because of Israel. Yeah. Don't forget that. Because Israel invaded. I made sure to put that in there because everyone likes to always talk about Hezbollah this, Hezbollah that. That's fine, bro. Like, we can argue about them being a terrorist organization all day. I would actually concede and tell you, yeah, you're right, they're a terrorist organization. But they were founded, they're a terrorist organization that was made in response to another and bigger terrorist organization, the IDF. So, that's how I defeat that argument. When people tell me, Hezbollah and Hamas are terrorist organizations, fine, I will concede that all day. But they were designed to fight a bigger terrorist organization, which is the IDF, the biggest terrorist organization in the fucking Middle East, the IDF.
Something he hilariously stepped around as well was when he was mentioning the fact that this small state the size of New Jersey in the Middle East, being Israel, is pummeling all of its strong, big, large Arab neighbors or former empires. And so he was kind of hinting at the fact that maybe you were a little bit jealous or upset about that, or you had some grievance about it. And it's like, hey, no, that wasn't Israel, though. That was the United States. Hey, if it wasn't for the United States, Israel would have never existed. And if they did, it would have definitely ended in the 70s. So I don't know if he knows that. I imagine somebody like Dinesh D'Souza actually knows that. He knows history, I would imagine. And so he was saying, oh, you're just mad because Israel's pummeling everybody. Yeah, Israel's pummeling everybody because they're bolstered by the strongest country in the world. And by the way, our power at that time, post-World War II, was more lopsided than it is now. We were that much more powerful than every other country. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. No one came close. Soviet Union, China, no one came close. At that time, the United States was unanimously stronger than every other country combined. Now we're in a multipolar world. And we were at that time, could you imagine, with our military might, flexing our muscles and supporting Israel? Yeah, no wonder they destroyed the Arab nations, and no wonder those same Arab nations say death to America, because we're a joint entity. That's what the letter to America by Osama bin Laden read like. So,
exactly. Hey guys, do me a favor. I'm looking at my brother's stream right now. He has 1,140 ninjas watching. Do me a favor, guys. Smash the goddamn like button on this thing. Let's get him to 1,000 likes on YouTube, guys. Do me that favor. Get him to 1,000. So, get the engagement up. Let's get his channel up. And also, he's at 19.2K subscribers. Let's see if we can get him to closer to 20,000 by the end of the stream. So, I'll drop my brother's link in here. All you guys that are watching on Kick and shit like that, do me a favor and give him a follow. I'll drop the link in here. Give him a subscribe on YouTube. So,
thanks, bro.
All right, go ahead, man.
Hilly says nothing, $3. Thank you. My dad left, $10. Yo, Riyadh, keep up the good work. Tell Myron my dad left, said hi. Okay. When you get a chance, okay. My dad. Are you familiar with this user? My dad left.
They always have these my dad, a disappointed father, and all these other names. Like the niggas always make names.
He asks, when you get a chance, can you ask Myron about the Oklahoma DMV woman who helped Israelis get into the towers to work on sprinkler systems? Thanks. Okay, yeah. If you want to talk about that briefly, you can. Michaka, damn, a month went by fast. Yeah, shout out to you for being a Riyadh squad for a month, bro. God bless. Appreciate that. I remember you from the beginning making fun of me saying that you don't know where my shirt is. Very funny. So, love you, man. Thanks. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, what he's referring to, basically, there was a ring of Israelis that were caught out, I think, in like Tennessee, and they were running a fraudulent ID ring, and what ended up happening was these guys were caught with when they were arrested, they were caught with like basically like tickets that showed that they were at the World Trade Center doing sprinkler work, like right before September 11th. And the woman that got them the IDs was going to testify against them in a case, in an FBI case, and she was found mysteriously dead in a burning car. And those Israelis ended up not getting fully prosecuted because she couldn't testify, and they got arrested. Then they got deported later on. So there was a whole other ring of Israelis that were doing this fraud shit, and they also had a moving company, and they were basically at the World Trade Center tower right before 9/11 doing sprinkler work. They sabotaged it, in other words. So that's what he's referring to.
Thank you.
Yeah, corrupt DMV employee basically gave him IDs.
Because I saw what they did in Gaza, and dude, Gaza is flat. It's flat. So they killed almost 30.
Vinny, you got to pick a side here, bro.
No. Please. No.
You got to pick a side here.
I love it. They don't like it. They don't like it when you're humanitarian. They don't like it.
You want to kill him or not? Yeah. You can't be on this. You can't be having sympathy for these goddamn Palestinians.
Vinny, you've got to choose a side, Vinny. Vinny, you're really you're getting to be like an anti-Semite, Vinny. You got to choose a side here.
Yeah.
But Vinny,
it's flat. So they killed almost 30.
Vinny, you got to pick a side here, bro.
No. Please don't play that game with me. Do not. Hold on. Do not.
You either want to take out the terrorists or you don't.
Time out. Do not play the pick a side, Adam, when it comes to 25,000 or 20,000 children dead.
That's the problem with these Zionists. That's the problem. It's all or nothing, bro.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing. It's either if you criticize us one time, it's a wrap. We're going after you.
There's no nuance. There's no acknowledgement of starvation, of humanitarian crisis, of dead kids. I mean, how morally degraded do you have to be? It's a wide spectrum here. How morally degraded do you have to be? How sick do you have to be to really not acknowledge how evil it is that children are dying in the rate in which they were killed in the Gaza conflict? How evil, Yep. And it gets worse, actually. I'll let it keep playing.
Don't play that game with me, because if terrorists were in this location, Israel should have done. Let me finish.
Slow down.
No.
What do you mean children dead?
Adam, if you show Gaza right now, and I don't even want him to show it, look at what Gaza looks like. Was there Hamas everywhere? Yeah. Because it's flat. Okay. Well,
by the way, the whole children, and I know we don't want to talk about this, the whole children dead. Why are children dead?
Think about that. Because when you throw caution to the wind and you don't do a ground invasion, go in the tunnels and go at everybody, you could just carpet bomb everybody and just say, well, there's terrorists there.
Just
That's
one
not
quick
fair.
question, follow up.
Yeah.
Where are these children hanging out?
Oh, what do you mean, Adam? They live there. They live there.
Are they by themselves? They hanging out?
No, when the bosses.
They're with their parents.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So they're with their parents, who are basically part of Hamas.
Also,
there's just no fucking way he actually said that, by the way. I was so shocked. I knew Adam was dirt, but this was a new low. And that's impressive for him. To suggest that children are justifiably killed because their parents are potentially terrorists, which is largely not true. Most people in Gaza don't identify with Hamas. Most people in Gaza are not politically involved. They support the resistance, obviously, because they're in an open-air prison, enclosed in very small borders. They don't get water. They don't get food. They don't get education. They don't get goods imported. And so a lot of people are actually in support of the resistance. Oh, did I forget to mention the fact that they had their land taken from them, whether you want to call it apartheid or colonialism? You have to understand, these are disheveled people who have a legitimate grievance that their land was stolen and they're being mistreated and they're under a fierce military occupation. Most of them are not Hamas. But let's just grant that ridiculous argument. Because your parent is Hamas and you're a 5-year-old, you have to die. That's effectively his logic here. A fucking 5-year-old Can't
gets
even
better.
pick apart a sentence, and you're going to say that they deserve to be killed. And by the way, that comes from their ideology that if the kids are going to grow up to potentially be the resistance, then you're allowed to kill them. They believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, so they never admit this, but they do say it. What's that rabbi's name? Like, we got to show that rabbi, bro, that you showed me that they could be saying reckless shit. We got to get him about they call him JC or whatever. If we can show him,
JC,
give me those
they call him JC. How's your God? Do you kill him? Huh? Fucking Goyim, stupid Goyim. I forget his name. I see him all over Instagram.
Someone's gonna put him on here.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna tell you, bro, with this whole thing with Hamas, when I debate Zionists on this topic and they sit there and they say, they elected Hamas, I'm like, bro, are you retarded? Half of Gaza are kids, 17 years old. Hamas was elected back in 2005. Are you like retarded? Like, what do you like?
It's like a new low, bro.
These dudes weren't even alive, bro. Like, they weren't even alive.
It's not even political at that point. It's demonic. It's really demonic. And honestly, I'm being so gracious. You could be against Gaza or you could be against Hamas, whatever. You can be pro-Zionist. That's fine. Can you at least concede that the dead kids is harmful, that that's not good, that you wish there was less of that? Like, how hard is it to go, yeah, I'm in support of Israel and I hate Gaza, but, maybe the kids was a bit far. That part saddens me. He can't even concede there. I mean, it's the greatest manifestation of evil you could ever see. It's ridiculous.
These
even
niggas
Vinny,
are all or nothing, bro.
Yeah, and Vinny is like, yo, bro, you're By the way, Vinny has echoed support for this war. Vinny has kind of straddled the line. He's low-key sometimes right, but, Vinny is being sensible. He's saying, look, Adam, I understand your position, but the kids, Adam, the kids, like, are we not going to talk about the kids? October 7th. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? And by the way, you're starting the story in the middle. Even if you want to weaponize October 7th, you are simply starting the story in the middle. And there were a set reason of chronological circumstances that motivated October 7th. By the way, October 7th could have been a 2 or 3 day conflict, not a 26-month bombing campaign if Israel conceded to the hostages being given back and Hamas's proposal to end the war. And they vehemently denied because they wanted to launch that bombing campaign. They were starving for it. And they knew it would happen, and they allowed it to happen so they could fulfill their mission. So it's top to bottom. The whole argument falls on its face. But I mean, the children part, come on. You got to come to the table on the children part.
That's the one part that I was like, damn, man, like I wish because I forgot to cover that with Dinesh, and I was looking back on thinking about my debate. He made a comment about like, we're not going to just disregard October 7th, blah, blah, blah. And I forgot to fucking say that, like, well, October 7th didn't happen out of nowhere, bro. Like, it didn't happen out of nowhere, right? I talked a little bit about the reasons why, but yeah, dude. Anyway, but we keep going.
All the parents, is that your argument? Is that all these kids that died, these innocent children, their parents are Hamas? Are you serious right now?
Hamas is embedded in society.
So kill everybody is your thing. Why'd they take so long?
What
They
do you
should
mean
have nuked
kill
them.
everybody? If they wanted to kill everybody, there'd be 1 million people dead right now. You have to understand. If they wanted to kill everybody, which they don't, a real genocide.
They do. They just know the international community would not let them go that far. Yeah. So they go as far as they actually can. Nice try, though, Adam.
Yeah. There'd be 1 million people dead in Gaza. Do you know that?
Literally, Charlie Kirk, by the way, on this same podcast, said to Patrick Bet-David, Patrick, they are trying to ethnically cleanse the Strip. Charlie Kirk, Zionist Christian, the biggest that we've seen in the last decade, said that. There's no secret there. They don't want them there. And if it means killing all of them without international condemnation, they'll do it.
The fact that they're talking about only 60,000, half of which are Hamas, half of which are civilians, is a testament to the fact that they don't want to kill everybody.
It's a horrible ratio.
America killed how many people in Iraq? How many people in Afghanistan?
And it was all wrong.
And I never heard the word genocide once.
What do you mean? Adam, I left the military because of what we did in Iraq. Vincent Oshana, left because of 9/11 in Iraq. If you want to kill 2 terrorists, are you okay with them taking down an entire apartment complex that people are living in? I don't think.
Also, Iraq was a 25-year conflict, like 23-year conflict. Gaza was like 2 years. And the death count was astounding. It was well over 100,000. So, yeah, it's a lot more dead people in a shorter period of time. If you concentrate it that much, it's going to facingly look like a genocide much more than a full-scale war against quote-unquote terrorism.
I think tactically, send in your ground troops. Mossad is dope. The IDF and all them, they don't want to get involved on the ground, which I think, Pat,
I love you, bro,
you'll save
but
civilians.
I think you're oversimplifying
No,
a very
I think put some
complicated
troops in there.
situation in a very.
Throw some troops on the ground. Go
What do you mean
fight the
throw
war.
some troops on the ground?
You don't just carpet bomb
By the way,
everybody.
I'm defending America here, but I just feel like giving you some facts, brother. How many people do you think live in Israel? It's 10 million people. I know people in the IDF. You think they want to be at war? How many tours have you done?
What do you mean tours? I was just in the Air Force.
Okay, so you weren't even a tour. I know people on their 5th tour, 7th tour. They've been in Lebanon. They've been in Gaza. They've been flying to Iran. They don't have enough people. So this whole concept of a boots on the ground where you think all these people are going to be everywhere at once, they don't have the...
All right, if you don't have enough people, don't fucking start the war. If you don't have the capability of fighting a war, to actually steal land, by the way, not for some other reason, then don't start the war. If all you can do is launch military campaigns from the air and kill thousands of kids in the process, quote unquote, accidentally, well, then maybe you don't have the equipment or the capability to even start a war. You ever thought about that? You don't have precision munitions. You don't have the ability to effectively kill military officials without killing 100,000 civilians in tandem. Well, then maybe you should not be fighting in the first place.
The numbers. And you have these 10 million people that are fighting war after war after war after war. And we're saying, do more. And America comes in as a capable ally to Israel.
Yeah, whatever he was going to continue to say was probably really bad. We can watch the whole thing if you want, but here I can pull it up actually. But I was surprised, W. Vinny, he actually took a hard stance there and said, and look, the bar is so low. We're giving people credit for, not
Saying don't kill
being
kids.
in favor of killing children. Yeah, it's pretty sad how low the bar has become. This other guy was also debating Patrick Bet-David or Adam, one of the two. Are you familiar with this guy's name, Myron? I feel like I remember, but it's just not coming to me right now. I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah. Viva Frey. Yeah.
CIA, I believe, formerly. Is that correct?
He's a Canadian. Yeah, Viva Frey is a Canadian lawyer. Yep. Cool guy.
Okay. He wasn't CIA?
You're thinking of David Bustamante because they have the same hair.
Oh, okay.
They have the same
I'm
style of
tripping.
hair.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy used to be a lawyer in Canada, but I can see why you might be like, well, isn't this the same guy? Yeah, no, different.
Gotcha. Let's see. I saw only a minute of this, and I thought it would be good to watch. So let's take a look at it together.
Post, except for a handful of people, and says,
"Oops." Super chat. Justin White says, it is crazy how people forgot. Hang on, I'm not able to view the whole thing, brother. Give me 1 sec. It's crazy how people forgot Jared Kushner's family spent $1.8 billion specifically to buy a 666 building in New York on 5th Avenue. They love pushing to bring the Antichrist for the sake of their own death. Let that sink in. Yeah, that's crazy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. God bless. Let's see. Hilly, $8. Your brother from Australia, show us Maqam Shamun Safa, St. Peter Church. IDF blew it up in Lebanon in 2,000-year-old church. There's a 1-minute video on Instagram. Your brother from Australia. Hey, shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the $8. And yeah, I mean, they don't care, Muslim, Christian, whatever it is. I think they bombed the synagogue in Iran. It doesn't matter to them. So
yeah, they did a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
My dad left. Thanks for the gift of the sub, bro. These names are fucking hilarious, bro.
Great post. Nobody does. But well, how can it be true? In the same post, he says CNN gives me 100% approval, and CNN is fake news. I mean, how do you make those two
CNN
statements?
did do that. We covered that on
Well, first of all, but understand what I'm saying here. I've been saying for a little while, CNN coming out and saying Trump and MAGA has 100% approval. If you view that as a lens of fake news to convince Trump that what he's doing is pleasing MAGA, view CNN's statement as sabotage, not as truth, because it's not truth. And so once you view it that way, you have Trump saying, CNN is saying that I've got 100% support, when it quite clearly is not the case.
So what's your point? That Tucker has credibility, that Megyn Kelly hasn't switched up, that Candace hasn't gone off the rails?
Candace
is that what you're saying?
Candace has gone off the rails on certain issues. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson.
Issues. The main issue is that she basically is trying to torpedo Charlie Kirk's legacy. That's the criticism.
But hold on, that's not.
She's doing documentaries about Eric.
That's not Trump's presidency, Adam. What I'm talking about Trump's presidency.
You're saying I'm going right to the source. He's calling these people out. Are you defending these people? I'm asking you.
Am I defending these people? What do you think it's a good move to go after Alex Jones, who arguably but not arguably got Trump elected in 2016?
Well, I'll hear you. I'll hear you
to
and say, do you think it's a good move for Alex Jones to go after Trump? Because he doesn't agree with one thing that Trump did.
The one thing that
if
could
we're talking
destroy
about Iran, Trump's been talking about taking out Iran for decades.
The one thing,
and all of a sudden he does it, and it's a bad thing.
The one thing of a
he actually wasn't explicitly talking about taking out Iran for decades. His actions,
no, he actually railed against Obama for that shit, getting us into a war.
He shat on Obama for it, and that's actually in my pre-stream edit, ironically enough. But Trump's actions definitely foreshadowed a conflict in Iran. But Trump campaigned on no new wars in 2024 and world peace. That's not what we have gotten so far. The issue in Ukraine persists, the issue in Gaza persists, and the issue in Iran is one he just started. One issue that every single president has strategically stepped around and tried very hard not to do, despite Israel begging them for that exact action. So, and Trump brags about that by saying, I'm the first to do it. I'm the first president that started. They were all wimps. They didn't want to do it. I said, why not? Why the hell not? Just bomb the hell out of him. Bomb the crap out of him. So he's like boasting about being the first one to do it. So Adam is moving the goalpost crazy. Like, address the question.
Truth post in which Trump says a civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back.
He didn't do it.
No, didn't do it is different than not putting that tweet out. When that post goes out, do I expect someone like Alex Jones, who has supported Trump the entire time, to maybe sound the bloody alarm to Trump? That's not a good post. Don't act. You don't get credit for not acting on that post. You should have not put that post out in the first place. And maybe it's the voices like Alex Jones that got Trump to take a step back.
I hear you.
Maybe.
By the way, I'll just interject. If Charlie Kirk was alive, he would be on all of their sides as well. Charlie Kirk would 100% be in the Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly group. He would 100% be against this.
He would not go as hard. He wouldn't go as hard because obviously he's closer to Trump than all of them. But he would have been opposing this war too.
No
for
doubt.
Sure.
Civilization dying tonight, never to be brought back, is not a good thing for midterms and 2020.
Viva, I hear you and I respect you. The words that he says, you're smart enough to realize you can't go chasing all of Trump's words. You'll end up in the estate asylum we talked about in the last segment. Follow his actions. Trump's trying to make a deal here. In my opinion, when Trump did that, he's basically saying, pay attention to me because something's about to happen in the next 24 hours. Because you know who moves the move.
Okay, just really quick debunk. Okay, follow his actions, not his words. His words are to manipulate the global oil market. His words are to manipulate NASDAQ, S&P, stock market, Wall Street, whatever. I suppose that's strategic and there's some intelligence to that. But his actions are also confusing too and don't allude to a greater plan. He says he's going to block the Strait of Hormuz, blocks Iranian ports. Iran is still making money on the Strait of Hormuz. He says we've reached a peace agreement. He sends Jared Kushner, Stephen Witkoff, and J.D. Vance to the Middle East. And those are actions, by the way. No peace is obtained. He starts a war with Iran after saying there will be no new war. We're watching his actions, actually. We're watching them closely. He failed the CIA operation trying to seize uranium and open the door for potentially a ground invasion. No, his actions are saying he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. That's what his actions are saying, and his words don't help. But I don't know what Adam is thinking. He's ahead of the curve by saying, but don't listen to him, watch his actions. No, his actions are arguably worse than what he's saying.
Cycle one person, Donald Trump. None of these other people. So I'm trying to understand what your point is. That you're saying that Trump is bad for sending out a mean tweet? Genuinely.
Let's distinguish between a mean tweet and that truth post, which, if it doesn't ruffle feathers, but if it gets his most ardent supporters to say, time to take a step back, and if there's an 8 o'clock deadline, sorry, I'm not going to wait until tomorrow morning.
No, I hear you, Viva.
So
but they've been criticizing Trump for a month now, if not longer.
Well, but
so you're saying that was the straw that broke the camel's back?
They've been no, you're saying they've been criticizing him for a month over the same issues and an escalation on that issue. Now, by the way, when that post came out and everyone was like, he's just negotiating, it's the art of the deal.
What loyalty does Trump have to these people?
My analysis of that tweet was, it's not the art of a deal to make a threat in a tweet that you know that you can't follow through on. So he's coming out and saying, oh, civilization will end tonight, but I didn't do it, so that's the art of the deal. No, what I said at the time was he made a threat that he could not possibly follow through on. People knew it, and now it's arguable as to whether or not the 10-point plan or the 14-point plan, whatever, is actually a victory for Trump or a victory for Iran. It doesn't matter. The good thing that happened at the end of that, whether or not it was because of or despite the opposition from Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, he stepped off the pedal a little bit, and now we are back in a world that is not on the verge of a cataclysmic World War III. You want to say that it had nothing to do with Alex Jones? We'll never know. Alex Jones voiced his concern, took a lot of shit for it, but ultimately Trump took his foot off the pedal, and now we're in a safer place than we would have been at 8 o'clock Tuesday night had he gone through with that.
Sure, I hear what you're saying. I'll just ask you one question. Who do you think has the most credibility? Who do you trust the most at this point with these decision makings?
There's no room for trust.
You trust
you can trust but verify.
You trust Tucker?
I listen
I'm
to Tucker.
asking
I don't trust anybody except for a divine power.
Sure.
I'll listen.
But there's levels of trust.
No, I think there's trust is a bizarre word. Verify. I'll listen to.
Shouldn't even be letting Adam walk him into this corner like that. Everything that Adam is trying to argue from, like the foundation, is just heretical as a whole. Like you're not. And this is what it means to kind of like argue in bad faith, and it's more than obvious. Like you're avoiding the bigger picture.
Oh, just so you guys know, Viva Frey is Jewish, by the way, too. FYI, yeah. He is Jewish.
Crazy, wow.
Yeah, he's Jewish, but he's not a retard. Shout out to Viva Frey. Also, guys, make sure we keep rocking. I turned on the YouTube stream for a little bit. I'm gonna turn that shit off right now. I've been on for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna end the YouTube stream here, guys. Come on over. Either go to my brother's channel or come to mine, whichever one you guys prefer. Riyadh's Report or Myron Gaines X on Kick. Ending the YouTube thing. Riyadh, how much longer are you gonna stay on? Because I'm thinking about getting off here in a little bit. I might cut to OSS, watch some police
like
shit.
10 minutes. I want to finish this clip and then I'm done.
Okay. All right then. I'll stay on a little bit longer than after that and then get off.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I'm fucking dead from the debates.
Bro, you've been live for. I mean, you had Scott Horton and then you had Dinesh D'Souza, and the debate drains you, man. So
it does, dude.
We'll wrap this up.
Tucker Carlson, I'll disagree with him when he had on
trust is a weird word now.
Yeah, because you don't trust. Trust implies that you abandon critical thought.
There's levels of trust.
No, there's verify. So I don't trust any.
All right, but that's why we don't trust Trump, because every threat he's made has been empty. So he abused his right for brinksmanship and posturing. Now no one believes him. Now we don't even have brinksmanship now because Trump always lies. So when he says he's going to do something, no one believes him.
Anybody except for my wife.
We lose the power.
I don't trust anybody. So now listen.
Why would you even trust your wife at this point?
Because I've already dedicated my life to her. So if she defies,
did you verify that?
If she defies me, then my life is effectively over. There's no one else to whom I've dedicated my life except for a divine power. I haven't dedicated.
So you
to
don't
that.
trust anybody.
Okay, I don't trust anybody. But bottom line, the trust. You listen to Tucker. I'll disagree with him when he says something crazy, like when he has on George Stephanopoulos' sister and says that the Christian population in Israel is declining. Outright wrong. Called him out at the time about it. I'll listen to Alex Jones. Disagree with him at sometimes. You cannot deny the influence that Alex Jones has now, was integral in Trump getting elected in 2016. And if you think it's a good, but then if you think it's a good idea, 6 months out of the midterm to do that, what would have been better?
I have a very different perspective, but than either one of you guys.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here is that U.S. intelligence told Trump it was a bad idea. So, I mean, they're all this argument is all for nothing because our most valuable piece of information, our most valuable thing that we lean on for making good decisions was not utilized, and that's his whole purpose. The whole purpose of the international community and the intelligence community is to give Trump the whereabouts and advice as to what is a good idea and what's not, especially when it comes to starting a war. So there's that. Red Pill Media says that Zerko impression is funny as fuck. How many of these voices do you have? I think I've used all of them. Riyadh Tickum Down says Randy.
My dad left. Thank you for the 15. He gave 10 subs and then 5. Sorry about that. Thank you, bro.
Now shout out to you, bro. Riyadh Dickum Down says Randy Fine caused the ridges on Reese's cups. Okay, that was funny. All right, yeah, I'm all caught up. Yeah, no, so I think that was really everything that I had queued up that I wanted to take a look at. But yeah, are you about to hop on OSS?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably react to this police video and take some requests there. Maybe watch some of the greatest story never told, and then we can do we could do a long stream tomorrow. I'm thinking, if you're I don't know if I'm gonna do. Man, I'm tired of these girls, bro. I don't know if I want to do after hours. Like yesterday was.
Well, look. Regardless, I can hop
when I go to sleep. So, but we're definitely gonna do Saturday though. I know that.
We'll play it by ear. Tomorrow I'll be on. Saturday I can't. I have an event that I had to go to. And then Sunday I'm available. Monday I'm available. So we'll just fill in for that Saturday and go Sunday. I notice people enjoy the Sunday streams a lot anyway. So Saturday I won't be here, guys, but tomorrow I'll be on. And it could be quick. Even if you have to do after hours, we can go from like, I don't know, like 7 to 9, 9 to 11, whatever you want to do. But yeah, W stream. Appreciate it, man. Guys, I will end. I guess you're going to jump on OSS. So
They're getting pissed off because now they got to go to Kick. They're going to be like, bro, what the fuck, man? Because they love watching on YouTube. You know what I mean? So they just got, you motherfuckers got to come to Kick now.
How long are you staying on Kick for?
I'll be out for like another 20 or 30 minutes with Kick, and then I'm going to go on, finish on OSS. So, but yeah, all you guys come on over, guys. Come on over to Kick. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer, react to some more. Maybe I'll do the police shit on Kick. This thing that I got here, and then and then we'll go
perfect. All right, let me just pin this. All right, guys. So check out Myron's chat. It's pinned in the channel, and I'm gonna hop off.
We'll do something for, like I said, we'll go long on Sunday with you.
Yeah, Sunday we'll run it, and then tomorrow if we have time,
it'll be a long one.
And you don't get cooked with after hours.
I might take Saturday off and then go on with you on Sunday, and we go super long. Pause.
Okay, sounds good. No, that sounds like a plan. All right, no, W stream, W Zerka impression. People are laughing at that shit still. And
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
The trick to Zerka is just say never. He says that shit like 10 times before he gives you some critical life advice. But yeah, guys, I'll catch you maybe tomorrow, but most likely for sure on Sunday. And we'll go from there. Jump over to Myron stream. It's pinned in the chat on my YouTube chat. You can find it at the top. And until next time. All right, bro. We'll talk, man.
All right, later. I'll see you tomorrow on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Catch you, bro. Peace.
Come on over, guys. Kick.
Jump over to Kick, people. Jump over to Kick. I'm gonna end stream now. I'm sweating. My AC's broken. Okay, broke nigga shit. Gotta get in the shower again. Love you guys. Appreciate the love. Make sure I'm not missing anything before I hop off. My shit's all messed up. Oops. Okay. Caught up on chats. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Love all of you. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and then we'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll react to whatever's happening in the news or just react to some of the funnier shit. A little bit of a more lighthearted stream today. Hopefully that was enjoyable because it's always hardcore politics. But until then, follow my clips page. It is linked in my YouTube bio. That's Riyadh Pilled, RYADPILLED. On Insta to catch my clips. Subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. Follow me on Twitter. It is Riyadh's Report or X. And yeah, till next time, guys. Peace out. Love all of you.